Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Pirates, I can transform into Marvel characters. Chapter 81. Soon, Ling Fan invited Hawkeye to the main ship. Because there are sea stones on the bottom of the warship, there will be basically no sea kings to disturb everyone. Oh, what a rare visitor. Unexpectedly, Hawkeye Mahawk has also come to our alliance. The speaker is naturally Barrett, who has stayed on Roger's boat before, so he is naturally familiar. Mahawk's pupils shrank, and a sense of danger came to his heart. Hawkeye immediately drew out his supreme sword, Hidoye. Pulling out the black sword, Yato stood in front of him. Barrett had already covered his fist with armed color, and swung it. Knowing Barrett's personality, Ling Fan didn't stop him, but Barrett's body was obviously much bigger than Mahawk's. When everyone thought Mahawk would be blown away with a punch, Mahawk just took a few steps back and raised his eyebrows. Barrett, we've met each other for a while, so there's no need to say hello like this, right? Mahawk said. Haha, it seems that your skills have not regressed. Barrett put away his fists and stood aside. We don't know each other very well, after all, you don't use a sword. Mahawk is a master of swords, so he naturally likes to compete with people who use swords, so he has a closer relationship with Lei Li and Barrett. Anyone can guess that the popularity on Roger's boat should not be very good. Brother Hawkeye is our guest, don't neglect him. Ling Fan said casually, and Barrett's smile gradually froze. He didn't dare to risk his life until Ling Fan got angry. The swordsmen on Roger's ship. Redfield and Shike naturally got to know Hawkeye, and those who were unfamiliar naturally got acquainted with each other, and those who hadn't met naturally became acquainted. Drink and drink. Ling Fan invited all the masters together, and naturally they drank happily. Of course, there was Crocodile among them, but Crocodile was obviously a little unhappy, and he was not in any mood. After all, Ling Fan had ruined many years of plans. I see. It seems that even Shichibukai has joined your camp. It's really scary. If the world government and navy find out, they will try their best to destroy you. Mahawk guessed. Ha, the Chiwahai agreement does not say that it is not allowed to annex other Chiwahai forces, but it is not allowed to kill each other. I have no way not to accept others' surrender, isn't it? Ling Fan naturally took advantage of the Chiwahai agreement by doing so. Haha, it's really interesting. It's the first time I've seen Chiwahai who doesn't take the Chiwahai agreement so seriously. It's interesting. Hawkeye smiled unexpectedly, and then said, I have a friend who probably wants to get to know you very much, so I'm going to go to sea to find out about you. Ling Fan smiled and guessed, could it be Shanks? Oh, you guessed it right so quickly. Hawkeye was also a little surprised. You don't seem to have many friends, do you? Ling Fan shook his head and smiled wryly. Yeah, we drank wine and chatted today. Next, it's time for me to try your skills. Mahawk then focused his eyes on Ling Fan for a long time, and then asked. Your eyes tell me that you are a powerful swordsman, but forgive me, why didn't I find your sword? Eagle Eye asked. I am the sword, and he will appear when needed. Ling Fan was also not afraid of the aura emanating from Hawkeye, and pushed his aura up. The corner of Hawkeye's mouth raised again and said, a good one will appear. I, Mahawk, will see how strong you Kibui are. I hope you can give me some advice. After saying that, Mahawk saluted, and then drew out his black knife again. Then I won't be polite. Ling Fan then shouted lightly, Qidong's super shape changing. Fusion. Deadpool. Then the familiar white light enveloped Ling Fan in an instant, and Ling Fan turned into a dead waiter, but there was no red combat tights on his body, only 2 extra knives on his back. In the transformation again and again, Ling Fan has mastered the method of fusion and transformation based on himself, and now he can obtain the powerful ability of the transformed object without changing the appearance. In an instant, there were 2 more knives. It's very strange, but since we are fighting, let's do it. Mahawk launched the attack first, and he swung his black knife. The speed was not fast at first, but after 2 or 3 strikes, a green energy condensed on the black knife, and the green sword energy instantly accelerated the speed of the black knife. 3 or 4 seconds later, Mahawk swung the knife extremely fast, and then several bursts of half-crescent sword energy attacked like Ling Fan. Zoo. This move can not only block bullets, but now it can also block sword energy. Hawkeye's green sword energy was completely blocked by Ling Fan's sword, and then seemed to be controlled by Ling Fan himself. Ling Fan whirled around for a long time, and finally sent out that estimated sword energy again. Well blocked. Mihawk was happy instead of angry, raised his knife high again, and then chopped it from top to bottom. Mihawk is worthy of being the #1 swordsman in the world. He made a random slash at such a close range, and unexpectedly made a very powerful slash again. Amazing. Ling Fan praised again. At this time, Ling Fan's 2 swords were also covered with a layer of chi. Unlike Mihawk's green color, Ling Fan had a black sword chi. To be honest, Ling Fan's sword chi matched the Haidao Yi's temperament better. Look at your sword skills. Mihawk blurted out, and took the initiative to attack Ling Fan, stabbing, chopping and slashing. Mihawk got the sword very quickly, and Ling Fan could only catch it with knowledge. In order to show off his sword skills, Ling Fan naturally used his own means to resolve Mihawk's moves one by one. The more they fought, the more energetic and excited they became, but it was the warship that suffered. At this time, there was no one on the warship, and it was inevitable that innocent people would be hurt when fighting with gods. This warship had long been regarded as a funeral object by Ling Fan's men. The strongest slash. Armed color is hardened. Ling Fan covered his double knives with armed color, and then blocked in front of him. In the end, although he was chopped off with a bang, his body did not suffer any damage. The 2 of them didn't feel tired at all, they still enjoyed it very much. I don't know how long the fight took, and when the entire warship was almost completely sunk by the aftermath of the 2, Ling Fan made a suggestion. Brother Hawkeye, we can't tell the difference like this. You and I learn from each other while fighting. Now that we have become friends, I really can't bear to attack each other. Next, it's best to use each other's most powerful moves to decide the outcome with one blow, right? Ling Fan suggested. No problem, but I wonder if your warship can hold it. Hawkeye asked. What's the point of mere things outside the body? Don't ruin the joy of fighting between you and me. Ling Fan had no choice but to start at this time, and he benefited a lot from the battle with Hawkeye. Naturally, he wanted to experience the strongest blow of the most powerful swordsman at that time. In this case, let's decide the winner. Brother Ling Fan, I have to say, except for that guy Shanks, you are the only one who made me so happy. The corner of Hawkeye's mouth raised slightly, and after the words fell, he swung the black knife Yi with both hands. Haidao made a sound of piercing through the air, and every time he slashed, Haidao quickly gained a point. After consecutive slashes, the blade was so black that it was completely covered by green light. It was obvious that Hawkeye had already accumulated his strongest slashes. All come to. Ling Fan then pulled out his 2 samurai swords and placed them on his left and right sides respectively. The swords reflected dazzling light in the sun, giving people a chilling and cold feeling. Go! Hawkeye finally swung the black knife, and countless sword auras hit Ling Fan like this. The shock wave of the slash was mixed with sword aura, so powerful that the entire warship was almost destroyed by the slash. Ling Fan also did his part, and swung the 2 knives in his hand, and shouted, Shuangchuang chop. A slashing shock wave not inferior to Hawkeye's, also mixed with supreme sword energy, finally collided with Hawkeye's green shockwave. Just hearing a loud boom, the warship under the 2 of them broke into several pieces with a click. But even so, the battle between the 2 has not stopped. They are still confronting each other with the strongest moves, and the slashing waves of the 2 are still facing each other without stopping. The entire warship broke even more severely. In a few seconds, the entire warship had been broken into dozens of sections. The aftermath of the battle between the 2 showed how strong it was. I didn't expect that in this world there are sword masters who are my match. They are truly extraordinary. Hawkeye's cold eyes were ignited again. Me too, Brother Hawkeye's swordsmanship is truly unparalleled in the world. But next time, I should figure out a way to defeat you. Ling Fan said. Haha, stop it. After a while, you and I won't have a foothold anymore. Hawkeye finally put Haidao away. Ling Fan naturally put away his samurai sword. The battle between the 2 ended up like this, but both of them knew that if the fight continued, they might lose the vitality of both sides. On the sea, it is the last word to hold back. Otherwise, even if they won the battle, they would meet the enemy who stabbed him in the back and die in the end. That's right, let's stop hurting our temper. Are you tired after fighting for so long? Let's continue drinking on the boat. Ling Fan invited. Okay. Hawkeye then stepped on the raft and returned to the deck of his warship with Ling Fan, and started drinking and chatting again. The two became acquainted unconsciously, and when they were drunk, they would fight on their own at sea, and after the drunkenness wore off, the two would go back to the deck to drink again. Both of them truly deserved to be the heroes of the world. They were so drunk for 3 days and 3 nights in a row, and then they fell asleep soundly. After Ling Fan woke up, Hawkeye Mahawk had already left. Ling Fan thought it was a pity. He originally wanted to integrate Hawkeye into his power, but thinking that Hawkeye has always been a loner, he finally decided not to force it. Master Ling Fan, where should we go next? Everyone on the boat asked. Ling Fan looked at the record pointer, and there seemed to be some problems with the pointer at this time. Although it pointed in one direction, it pointed to the air, which made people feel a little weird. Don't worry so much, let's go as we go first. No matter what the record pointer points to, there must be a way for the car to reach the mountain, and the ship will naturally go straight when it reaches the bridge. Under Ling Fan's order, the entire fleet once again started to move towards the next destination of the Great Channel. Sailing on the sea for a few days, nothing special happened this time, but Robin couldn't help but think of O'Hara's tragedy. Such tragedies were caused by the Navy and the world government, but Robin has been powerless to resist these years. Seeing that Robin was worried, Ling Fan naturally stepped forward to comfort him. Robin, don't think too much, I will take you to find the historical text piece by piece. Defeating the Navy and the world government is the traceability of the Alliance. We exist for revenge. Ling Fan's words made Robin feel more at ease. Can I still be the same as before? Robin asked quietly. Of course. Ling Fan naturally gave an affirmative answer. Immediately afterwards, Robin hugged Ling Fan, and Ling Fan soon felt that his shoulders became wet. Although Robin is a bit too direct, Ling Fan knows that he is one of Robin's only remaining relatives, and only Robin's feelings, even if she doesn't say it, Ling Fan can understand. Ling Fan touched Robin's head and said, Robin, you are not alone, at least Zoro and I are here, and we have more companions. With me here, the world government and Navy will not dare to touch you easily. Well, the only relatives in this world are you two. If it wasn't for you, I might still have to become someone I don't like in order to survive. What Robin was talking about was of course that he was the vice president of Crocodile. You are for the historical text, you and Crocodile are just using each other, there is no way, don't feel guilty or, then you will only get more and more tired. Be happier, don't forget the smile that Zoro taught you. Ling Fan finally calmed down Robin's mood. As time passed, the record pointer finally pointed straight to the sky. Obviously, the next island was Sky Island, but Ling Fan didn't intend to get all the troops to Sky Island. Since Sky Island is above, then Gaia Island should be nearby. Ling Fan then fused Iron Man's mecha and searched around the surrounding sea area. Emperor Tien paid off. Under Jarvis's scan, Ling Fan successfully discovered an island. Gaia Island, this is an island with many pirates. It should not be difficult to occupy this island. Ling Fan then told his subordinates to be calm, and he and Robin first flew to Gaia to find out the truth. The town on Gaia Island is called Mogu Town. Walking on the main street of the town, Ling Fan can feel many unkind eyes. Let's go to the local tavern first, Ling Fan said. Well, listen to you. Robin obeyed Ling Fan's words. Boss, 2 glasses of beer and 2 servings of meat. Ling Fan was very generous and gave the boss a lot of Bailey, but it attracted the attention of more pirates. Ha, looks like an incredible character has arrived. It seems very rich. There is a chick beside me, who seems to be very nice. Ha ha ha, beauty, may I buy you a drink? How about it? Don't be with this kid anymore, he looks very weak. A very ferocious-looking drunk man wobbled up a big wooden cup and came in front of Robin. Although Robin was disgusted for a while, he didn't show it. Ling Fan sighed. You look weak. Are you talking about me? It seems that I am really underestimated. The barkeeper then brought out the meat and wine. You are still an adult. There are a lot of people who don't care about these people. These people are living a life of licking blood on the knife's edge. Everyone in this town is also a pirate. If you are a traveler, you should try to talk less and be more patient. The bar owner also said kindly. I'm not going to argue with a group of pirates who don't have much bounty. Ling Fan didn't care so much. had a drink with Robin and then started to eat on his own. Although Ling Fan ignored those vicious pirates, the pirates felt that Ling Fan was easy to bully, so they walked over step by step. Boy, didn't you hear what we said? Our boss wants to invite the chick next to you to have a drink or two. Yeah, those who are sensible don't care so much. The pirates once again carried Ling Fan's shoulders with their hands, threatening without saying anything. Ling Fan shook his head and said, I really don't want to make a move, but if you insist on seeking your own death, then I can't help it. Haha, did you hear that? I heard it. He actually said that we are looking for our own death. Just kidding. In Magic Valley Town, we have the final say. One of the pirates has already taken the lead, ready to kill Ling Fan with the musket in his hand. In that case, Robin, I'll take the shot, wait for me a moment. Ling Fan then snapped his fingers, and with a snap, everyone seemed to be frozen. That's right, Ling Fan used the ability of Quicksilver, and the supersonic speed of action allowed Ling Fan to shuttle around every pirate. What Ling Fan did was very simple, but he used his own strength to throw all the pirates out. After everything was done, Ling Fan returned to his original position again and continued to eat meat and drink. Boom, boom, boom. All the pirates were easily thrown out of the door by Ling Fan. How is it possible? We were still in the tavern just now. Yes, how did you run into the street? Could it be that kid? It's so evil. Run, only that guy can deal with him. All the pirates ran away in a hurry, and there were only 3 people left in the whole tavern, except Ling Fan and Robin, and the owner of the tavern was left. So you're a master, sorry for your disrespect. The tavern owner also said very politely, however, please be careful. We have a pirate here. He will attack whoever has a high reward, and his methods are extremely cruel. Any pirate who is targeted by him will end up in a bad end. Oh, is there such a pirate? It seems that he is the tyrant of Magic Valley Town. So what if you defeat him? Ling Fan asked. Yes, if you defeat him, you will definitely be able to gain a foothold in this town. Just as the tavern owner was talking, a figure walked into the tavern. The figure immediately made a voice. I heard that a very powerful man has come. The tavern owner immediately responded, it's him. He's here, sir, be careful. Okay, I will. Ling Fan nodded in response, and then looked at Robin. Be careful, Robin said with concern. Don't worry, you know my strength. Ling Fan didn't care too much, after all, he could already be said to be immortal. The pirate gradually approached the bar, ate a few mouthfuls of meat, gulped down some wine, and then attacked Ling Fan very abruptly. Judging from the piercing voice, the pirate's strength is quite strong. Hello, welcome to Magic Valley Town, my name is Dorrit. The person who called himself Dorrit punched Ling Fan. The bar owner couldn't bear to watch it any longer, and no one in the entire Magic Valley Town could take the blow of Dorrit head on. However, what happened next shocked the bar owner. Ling Fan firmly grasped Dorrit's wrist like a crab's claw. No matter how hard Dorrit tried, even until his face turned red, he still couldn't break free from Ling Fan's shackles. How can this kid have such great strength? Could it be that he is also a devil fruit capable user? Dorrit decided not to hide his strength when he got here. After all, if he went down, he would be ashamed, and a lot of spectators had gathered outside the tavern. The whole body of Dorrit in front of him changed unexpectedly. A pair of horns grew on his head immediately, his skin became dark instantly, his feet turned into hooves, and his nose turned into that of a cow for 100 years. It is obvious that Dorrit is an animal-type cow fruit-capable person. Mew! Dorrit yelled and threw Ling Fan away. It's amazing, it's really good to have such power. Ling Fan couldn't help but praise. Next, I want you to leave the whole world completely. Hell crash! Dorrit ran over, using his blunt horns, intending to directly knock Ling Fan into the air. Okay, dare to fight me head-on. I like it. Ling Fan showed a playful smile, and he had merged with Hulk unconsciously. Roar! Ling Fan uttered a shocking roar, taking such a step forward, he easily grabbed the horns on Dorrit's head. Ha! Ling Fan exerted a little force, and Dorrit's collision was stopped just like that. The surrounding audience were also shocked. No one has ever been able to stop Dorrit's attack. This guy is definitely not an ordinary person. Yeah, Dorrit is an animal-type fruit-capable person, this guy can actually challenge the animal type. I don't know if he is also a fruit ability user. If not, it would be terrible. You Duolute used more power again, trying to push Lingfan back again, but found that your strength was like a sinking sea. No matter how hard you tried, you couldn't shake Lingfan. Strange. What's going on here? I've never encountered such a wicked thing. Dorrit also complained loudly. Ha, there is only one reason, that is, you are weaker than me. Lingfan then shouted. Ha! That endless force instantly knocked Dorrit into the air. How is it possible? Dorrit's huge body was knocked into the air, and finally went straight through the tavern, and finally fell into the manger, and passed out. It's scary. Who is this guy? All the pirates looked at Lingfan in fear. Don't worry, I don't have any malice towards you, I just want you to submit to me. It's not a shame to submit to me. With my strength, you have no other choice but to submit. With Lingfan's voice, the pirates ran out in panic. It was obvious that they knew Lingfan's strength and didn't want to be controlled by Lingfan. The second round of flowers blooms. Robin directly used her fruit ability on the side, and the feet of the pirates were firmly locked by Robin's arms. Everyone, don't be so anxious to leave. Let's get to know each other, and you are making a decision. Lingfan naturally planned to reveal his identity. My name is Lingfan, the god of change Lingfan. Lingfan said lightly. Zero Fan. Lingfan. No way. It's a reward of 20 billion. Fall out of the promotion city. Destroy the Chihuahai of Judicial Island. No wonder even Dorrit was defeated by you. If it's Zero Fan in Chihuahai, it's easy to understand. Afterwards, the crowd made some comparisons before confirming that Lingfan was not talking nonsense. They never thought that they could meet Chihuahai in Mogu Town. Lingfan asked very directly, are you willing to surrender? Of course, you are the hero among our pirates. Hero, where did you say that? Lingfan felt a little strange. After a few words, how did he become the hero among the pirates? Your deeds have spread all over the world, and news of you is also circulating in the Great Channel. Everyone says that you are the strongest Shichibukai. We can join your forces, and we really wish for it. How can we refuse? Didn't you know that Dorrit is one of the most obsessed fans of you? If he knew that Master Lingfan defeated him himself, he would be very honored. It was one thing before revealing their identity, and another after revealing their identity, but you can really feel that this group of pirates really worship Lingfan, and Lingfan naturally didn't make things difficult for them. After making them surrender, he immediately sent a signal to his fleet. My subordinates will enter Magic Valley Town. From then on, the entire Gaia Island will be the island of my subordinates. If the Navy dares to come to attack, I will cover you. Lingfan is fighting against the Navy world government, and naturally he will fight to the end. Next, Lingfan's fleet landed in Gaia, and Endless Men eventually occupied Magic Valley Town. Lingfan still ordered people to establish a branch of the Avengers Alliance in Magic Valley Town, and planted the flag in Magic Valley Town. In this way, the entire Magic Valley Town can be regarded as a part of Lingfan's forces. At this time, the subordinate reported, Report Master Lingfan. The record pointer is still pointing to the top of our heads. I don't know if the pointer is broken. Lingfan said. Of course it's not that the pointer is broken, but that the next island is in the sky. If other people want to go to the empty island, they should take the soaring current. That kind of current is extremely dangerous, and they must have top-level navigators. As for us, it is much simpler. Let Master Shiji control our main ship and fly up. It can be said that it is very convenient to have the ability of the Golden Lion, just fly directly to the Sky Island. Is there really an empty island? Lingfan, Robin asked unsurely. Yes. Lingfan then pointed to the sky and said, hundreds of years ago, a part of Gaia Island was sent to an altitude meters by the soaring ocean current, and finally became an empty island. Of course there is more than one empty island in the world. By chance, there are quite a few empty islands formed, but naturally few people know about it. By the way, Robin, there is still a piece of historical text there, so we must go there too. Lingfan said. Even if not, I plan to go, after all, it looks very exciting. Robin nodded, and immediately went to prepare. Robin is really adventurous. Lingfan couldn't help laughing. All the personnel are ready. Lingfan specially asked all the masters to come to the main ship this time, and let his men stay in Magic Valley Town, because Ling Fan didn't go up by the soaring current, and he will still come down when the time comes. I'm ready for Mr. Ling Fan, we can fly up. Shiji is ready. Then let's float up. After entering the clouds, we'll talk. After Ling Fan gave the order, the main ship slowly floated in the air, and finally flew high above the sky. The pirates in Magic Valley Town have their eyes wide open. Some of them have heard of the Golden Lion, some of Piao Piao Guo, and some of them have only heard of Ling Fan. Soon, the ship disappeared from people's sight. In the end, everyone floated into the clouds. Although the tonnage of the warship was high, it did not fall from the clouds due to its weight. It's amazing. The warship carrying so many of us can actually float on the clouds. The Red Earl was also amazed. Could it be that the Golden Lion is using the Piao Piao fruit? That's why we continue to float. Barrett looked at Shiji and asked. Of course I'm not controlling the main ship anymore, obviously this cloud can lift us up. Golden Lion said. Is this Sky Island? Crocodile asked. No, this is not an empty island, it's just the White Sea. The upper layer is the empty island. However, the clouds above the head are dense, and it takes a huge impact to enter the clouds, but it is very likely to damage us. In my opinion, we should continue along the Sea of Clouds, and there should be other ways to enter the empty island above. Ling Fan said. In this case, everyone controls the warship to move forward. Robin said. After sailing on the clouds for a while, everyone found a waterfall. What was left behind by this waterfall was not water, but liquid clouds. Under the waterfall is a huge gate with 4 big characters written on it, the Gate of Heaven. This is the entrance to the Sky Island. If you want to go to the Sky Island, you must pay the ticket, otherwise you will be positioned as a prisoner. Ling Fan also told everyone what he knew. How does it feel? You seem to be here before, and you seem to be very familiar with this place. Robin said with a smile. That's natural. After all, I'm a supernatural and omniscient master Ling Fan. Ling Fan boasted a bit, and it was prevaricated. Then there was a little old woman with wings on her back, holding a camera and starting to take pictures of everyone. What's the situation? The old woman began to introduce herself. I am the Watcher of the Gate of Heaven, and my name is Amazon. Are you here for sightseeing or for war? Everyone naturally looked at Ling Fan, focusing on Ling Fan. We are not here for sightseeing, nor for war. Our purpose is to defeat your god, Enelo. Ling Fan said so directly. Hush. Amazon also made an embarrassing gesture of hissing. Be quiet, God will hear. We just want to fight him, so it doesn't matter if he hears or not. Ling Fan didn't take it seriously. Although Ai Nilu has the thunderous fruit, Ling Fan is not afraid of him. It doesn't matter, if you want to go to the upper level, please pay the fee to enter the kingdom of heaven, 10 billion IQ per person, this is the law. Amazon said. 10 billion, everyone was taken aback. How much would it cost for a ship with so many people? If you don't spend money, you should be able to get in, right? Ling Fan asked directly. It's not that Ling Fan has no money, but that Ling Fan doesn't need to spend money here at all. His purpose is to lure Enelu to fight with him, not to peacefully coexist with Sky Island. Yeah, it's up to you whether I can get in or not, because I'm not a gatekeeper or a guard, I just want to ask what you mean. Amazon said. Let's go, Ling Fan said. But how can I go to Sky Island? Robin just finished asking, when a huge shrimp claw appeared in the cloud and grabbed the warship that everyone was on. This is Baihai's famous express shrimp. With them, you will reach Sky Island soon. Amazon said. Immediately afterwards, I felt a rush of lightning, the wind passed by everyone's ears, and the entire warship rushed to a higher place along the cloud flow at an extremely fast speed. The original high-level cloud flow turned into a waterfall and fell down, but the express shrimp was able to go upstream, which was really shocking in terms of speed. After a while, I finally saw the end of the cloud road. At the last moment, the express shrimp threw the warship out. Golden Lion, hurry up. In order to prevent the disintegration of the warship, Ling Fan immediately let the Golden Lion regain control of the warship, and then let the warship fall slowly and steadily. The express shrimp turned around beautifully and returned to the cloud stream, but everyone on the warship was quite frightened. At this moment, the scene they were looking forward to appeared in front of their eyes. It's an island. No problem. It's definitely an empty island. Although everyone had heard Ling Fan say that there was an empty island, they believed it when they saw it. The empty island in front of me is hidden in the blue sky and sea of clouds, which is very dreamy. Let's go. Anchor the boat. After walking to the beach, we have reached the other half of Gaia. Ling Fan said. Then the subordinates should listen to the order. Every boat that comes in along the gate of heaven will land on Angel Beach. After the warship is parked, most people disembark, and only a small number of people stay on board to guard the boat. From this point of view, this place is like a sea with floating islands on the ground. I wonder if we can reach here by using the soaring current. Robin asked. I think it's natural. After all, there is only one surrounding empty island. Ling Fan replied. By the way, after we got here, the gods here have already noticed us. Redfield, how about this guy's knowledgeable domineering? Ling Fan asked. It's not bad, he's not going in the same direction as me, but he's able to cover the entire island with a sense of arrogance, which is indeed very powerful, the Red Earl also praised. However, this guy, I guess we can't let him join, because he is not an ordinary pirate, he is a self-proclaimed god. Ling Fan said. God, is there really such a thing? The Golden Lion, the Red Earl and others are all legendary powerhouses, so naturally they don't think that such a thing exists in this world. Where should we go next? The crowd asked. Just wait, I think we will soon attract their gods to have to meet. Ling Fan said. What Ling Fan said was very accurate. Not long after, a large number of soldiers could be seen crawling forward. These soldiers all wore white berets, and behind them were the little wings of Sky Island residents. Why are those people crawling forward? Do not know. All stop. The beret officer waved his hand and said, Hello. Hasso. I am the captain of the beret team, Captain McKinley. It's you. You are the 7 illegal immigrants from Qinghai who were notified by the surveillance officer. You must accept the punishment of heaven. Sanction from heaven. What is that? Robin asked. We have already received the photos taken by Amazon, the surveillance officer of the Gate of Heaven. The captain of the beret took out the photos of Ling Fan and others. So that's it. Did the stinky old woman do a good job at that time? Crocodile also narrowed his eyes. If he had known this, he would have killed the stinky old woman. Ling Fan, it seems that you already knew this would happen. Crocodile asked. Of course, we don't have the time to pay them national fees. Ling Fan replied. In fact, you don't need to be so panic. Illegal entry into the country is only an 11th level crime in the sanction of heaven. If you are willing to accept the punishment, you will immediately become a safe tourist. Captain McKinley said. Everyone only needs to pay 10 times the entrance fee on the spot, and the crimes committed by you can be written off on the spot. Captain McKinley said. What are you kidding about? The Golden Lion snorted coldly. Let me explain in advance, our White Beret unit is directly under the priest's unit. Resisting this unit will only make the crime worse. Please pay attention, Captain McKinley warned. Immediately afterwards, Captain McKinley began to doubt life. Because at least 3 breaths that made him feel suffocated suddenly pressed on his body, and this momentum made him unable to breathe at all. Boy, if Ling Fan didn't signal, I would have killed you in just a second. Barrett also said with a sneer, with the corners of his mouth raised. Withdraw, withdraw. Captain McKinley immediately led the White Beret troops to evacuate. This was the first time he felt such fear. Even if everyone's life is exhausted, there is no way to control this group of people. In the end, it is just a sacrifice in vain. When did the Qinghai people become so powerful? When the White Beret troops had completely retreated, a bolt of lightning suddenly struck out from the air, and after hearing a sound of catch, the thunderbolt struck towards Ling Fan. Anilu, have you finally made a move? Ling Fan pulled out his Captain America shield, and blocked Anilu's lightning so easily. This is, the crowd asked. Let's go to Apayado. The self-proclaimed god Enelo has already sent us an invitation, so how can we not agree? Ling Fan then sensed and pointed his finger in one direction. From Angel Beach, you can probably see an island around it. That's Arpajado, where Enelo is. He sent me an invitation, and I will naturally not escape. Ling Fan was very interested in this. I'll go too. Crocodile took the initiative to go, but he was afraid that Ling Fan would die halfway, so he couldn't tell him the secret of Hades. Ha ha, Ling Fan smiled. After Crocodile surrendered, he was very low-key and never took the initiative to ask for a job. This time, his initiative surprised Ling Fan very much. In this case, Shike, Redfield, Barrett, and Crocodile, you four will enter a Payado with me to participate in the so-called God's trial. Robin and Soro just stay on the warship. No problem. Soro used to be a vice admiral, and after going through various trainings, he naturally possessed extremely strong strength. Let me follow you, Ling Fan. Anyway, you can protect me at any time. Robin has great trust in Ling Fan. In this battle, Robin naturally knows Ling Fan's strength. Of course, she is still extremely interested in that piece of historical text. That's right, then, Soro, you stay on the boat, and the next thing will be handed over to the six of us. If the Beret troops or someone here attacks you, don't hold back, they will all be wiped out. Ling Fan said. Ling Fan didn't have only 7 people. There were many men in the cabin of the warship. Naturally, there was absolutely no problem with the soldiers blocking the mere empty island. It's just dealing with 4 priests, I'm really good at nothing. After laughing at themselves, Ling Fan and others drove the warship to a Payado. The warship was advancing along the sea of clouds, and Ling Fan also clearly saw a huge island with many thick trees, which seemed to be centuries old. The way to a Payado is very obvious. There are chains on both sides of the channel, which seem to represent the correct route to enter a Payado. There are also 2 bull skulls in symmetrical positions on the left and right sides. Above the skull is a brazier. Below the skull is a shield with the word, God, and 2 crossed spears. Along the chains, there are countless small altars with hideous faces. Just coming here will give you the feeling of being stared at by others. As the warship travels deeper and deeper, the surrounding trees will naturally become denser and more numerous, adding a bit of horror to the surroundings. Robin's body shivered, not knowing whether it was from the cold or from fear. Ling Fan thoughtfully took out a robe and put it on for Robin. Don't worry, nothing will happen. Ling Fan comforted, there was nothing else around, and Ling Fan also just felt cold. Well, look, there are a lot of things around. Robin reminded. Yeah, these seem to be all shipwrecks. Why are there so many wrecks? Redfield asked. All the boats were neatly cut in half. Was it caused by a master swordsman? Asked the Golden Lion Shiji. Haha, that's even better. I'll compete with him. Barrett also laughed wildly. He has fought against One Piece, so naturally he won't be afraid of any so-called masters. It's a bit like being cut by a sharp blade. As soon as Crocodile finished speaking, a huge sickle swung down from the air, directly cutting Crocodile in half. Of course, Crocodile is of the natural system, and if he uses elementalization directly, he is immune to this ordinary physical attack. However, the fence part of the warship deck was cut a little. It's really boring. This is a trap to prevent ordinary people from coming in. Ling Fan took 2 steps forward, his eyes rolled quickly to the left and right. More than 1, many, thousand cut valley. Ling Fan moved, and the dead waiter Kuayin instantly possessed him. In the time node of supersonic speed, Ling Fan swung countless knives, and the sword chi slash was like destroying the dead, cutting those huge scythes into countless pieces. Dong 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 dong. Countless sickles finally fell into the sea of clouds, and all the strong men were dumbfounded. Before they had time to make a move, they did not expect that Ling Fan's knife had completely destroyed those traps. The speed of this guy is so fast that it's weird. There is only a flash in front of him, and there are traps around him. If I want to attack him, it seems that I will be killed in less than a second. Crocodile is sweating all over his body. I can't tell whether it is shock or fear. The Qianchi Valley that Ling Fan just used is naturally derived from the Golden Lion. The Golden Lion was originally a 2-sword style. In the original book, 2 knives were used to replace his own feet. However, Ling Fan spent 18 years developing Deadpool's 2-sword technique into his own 2-sword style. Being able to compete with the most powerful swordsman in the world, Hawkeye, Ling Fan's swordsmanship has obviously stepped into the forefront of the world. Some of the people are used to Ling Fan, while others are still not used to it. After all, how can there be such a powerful person in the sea? What Robin wanted to say, Ling Fan stopped him again. Everyone, be careful, the trap has not stopped here. Ling Fan then came to Robin at a super fast speed, quickly merged with the US team, raised the shield in his hand high, and then heard the sound of shoo shoo shoo, and countless wooden thorns fell from the sky. These wooden thorns are densely packed, and ordinary human beings have no chance of surviving unless they hide in the warship. Dang, clang, clang. The wooden thorns were all blocked by Ling Fan's shield, and even a few of them were isolated from the body by Ling Fan's armed color. Naturally, Robin was carefully protected. And these directories are naturally little kisses to other strong players. Redfield can dodge all the wooden thorns just by using body skills. Crocodile doesn't need to block at all. It is only elemental, and the wooden thorns cannot cause any damage. After all, there is no domineering entanglement on the wooden thorns. The Golden Lion used its own sword skills to shoot down all kinds of wooden thorns. On the other hand, Barrett is a ruthless person. He didn't even use the weapon color to harden, and just relied on the weapon color to isolate all the wooden spikes. It's really boring. Barrett grabbed a wooden spike, threw it out fiercely, and smashed it on a machine that released the wooden spike. Finally, with a boom, the machine was destroyed. The reason why Ling Fan didn't make a move was because he wanted to see how his legendary pirates would deal with this sudden situation. After passing through this area, it became calm again for a few seconds, but Ling Fan knew that the matter was not over yet, and then countless leech-like creatures suddenly floated in the sea of clouds. Desert Sword. Crocodile struck directly, and the monster's head was chopped off. It seems to be a kind of lamprey, but in the empty sea, it should be called a lamprey, right? Robin said with interest. Aren't you a historian? How do you know something about animals? Ling Fan asked. It's some common sea creatures in the sea. I guess they were brought up by the soaring currents, right? It must be so. Robin nodded. Couldn't this be a trial? It's too boring. Barrett still looked eager to try. This Cloud River was so dangerous at the beginning. I think it should be more interesting inside. We shouldn't die tragically, right? The taste of adventure. Exciting. I quite like it. Robin also smiled surprisingly. Robin, with a vicious tongue and a black belly. Ling Fan feels that he has gotten to know Robin a little more. The warship traveled a few hundred meters again, and lampreys appeared again, but for people like Ling Fan, it was no longer a problem. Soon, the ship came to a stone statue, which was much larger than the one next to the chain at the entrance. The stone statue looked like the face of a Buddha, and in front of him, there were 5 smaller stones. This is it. We have reached the entrance of the trial. We are qualified for the trial, right? Golden Lion Shiji asked. Yes, these 5 stone pillars can be regarded as the 5 fingers of the Buddha. Except for the smallest finger on the left, there are 4 different trials from the index finger to the little finger. The trial of the swamp, the trial of iron, the trial of the rope, the trial of the ball. Redfield read it out. Everyone can choose. In these 4 trials, you will meet 4 priests. These 4 priests are our enemies. Ling Fan explained. I choose the iron trial. Barrett made the choice first, and then said, quickly end this boring game. Then Barrett rushed to the entrance of Trial of Iron at an extremely fast speed. What about the others? Ling Fan asked. I choose the trial of the marsh. After all, I can control gravity. The Golden Lion chose the trial of the marsh, and then controlled his body to float in. In this case, I will choose the rope trial. I am a natural ability user, and they will not restrain me no matter what. Crocodile turned into a burst of sand and then entered the cave of the rope trial. In the end, Redfield grew a pair of wings like a bat, and then quickly submerged into the trial of the ball, like a gust of wind. And what about us? Robin asked. Us. Let General Sorrow stop. We fly to the top of this boulder, wait for the 4 priests to be killed, and we go to deal with the enemy's leader. Ling Fan didn't intend to break through these trials one by one. After all, in the end, it was only the 4 priests who were dealt with in the end. The priests mainly relied on their knowledge and arrogance, and there was nothing amazing about the others. Okay. Robin naturally entered the cabin. After a while, Sorrow came out with his subordinates. After Ling Fan finished explaining, he transformed into Iron Man and temporarily lent the steel mecha to Robin. Jarvis, help Robin fly, just follow me. Ling Fan gave Robin the mech, and if he wants to fly, he naturally needs to integrate Johnny the Human Torch. After everything was settled, Ling Fan flew to the top of the Buddha statue. With the help of Jarvis, Robin followed Ling Fan and landed on the stone statue very steadily. Jarvis, reconnaissance remotely, and post the screen for Robin to see. Ling Fan ordered. Understood. Jarvis then showed Robin the trials in 4 places. And Ling Fan used Wolverine's long-distance vision to see everything around him clearly. In the canal, Redfield saw white snowballs floating around, and these snowballs were very beautiful suspended in the air. The river of clouds extended to the tree, and the Red Earl walked along the river of clouds at a high speed, and naturally found the white balls around him. These things are not right. Redfield just finished speaking, and found that many white snowballs had completely blocked the way ahead of him. Just when the Red Earl was about to pass them, the white snowball exploded with a boom. Suddenly there was smoke. Robin, who was observing on the stone statue, asked worriedly, "Will Mr. Red Earl?" Ling Fan patted Robin on the shoulder and said, "Don't worry, he is the Red Earl, a mere priest who can compete with Pirate King Roger and others by himself." Sure enough, after Ling Fan's voice fell, Robin observed that Redfield was unharmed. A person with a ball-like figure, wearing glasses and a yellow hat, and angel wings that can only be found on an empty island said, "It's really amazing. This thing is called a ball that scares you. Welcome to choose my trial of the ball. I am the priest Sen Zishadli, ho ho ho." The priest seemed to like playing very much, so he just jumped up on the big round ball he was standing on. "So that's it, you are the priest, that Enelu's subordinate?" the Red Earl asked. "Ha ha, yes, our god at that time. But you will definitely die if you meet me, so don't even think about fighting him." The priest was still alive and kicking, very happy. Dare to speak wild words in front of me. It's really interesting." The Red Earl didn't even want to refute the priest in front of him. Ling Fan was also sweating for the priest from a distance. Even the 4 emperors and even Roger may not be able to defeat the Red Earl. This priest is so self-righteous. That's right, they think they are gods here, so naturally they don't pay attention to the so-called Qinghai people. Ling Fan shook his head. For now, Enelo's team is a frog in a well, not even domineering. Only by defeating me can you move forward and see Enelo. The priest jumped over while talking. "HMPH. It looks like you're going to rush over to attack me," the priest said indifferently, and then the marriage proposal dodged Redfield's attack, and then hit Redfield's abdomen with a palm. The priest had hidden the shock shell in his glove early on, so a shock force pushed Redfield back a few steps. "What? After being hit by my shock, it turned out to be only a few steps back." The priest opened his mouth, looking in disbelief. "Ha ha ha." The Red Earl laughed loudly, revealing his own evil smile. "Is this the shock shell? After a while, it's not that powerful. Can you predict my actions? Being able to predict the future is not bad. It seems that you don't understand that knowledge is the so-called guidelines you rely on." The Red Earl smiled, but his body did not suffer any injuries. Ling Fan said with a smile, "The Red Earl was hit on purpose. This guy wanted to try the impact of the impact shell. Can the enemy predict his attack? How does he know that the enemy is using knowledge? Robin just came out of Alabasta, so naturally he doesn't know about HQ. In terms of knowledge and domineering, the Red Earl is the ancestor. He can easily read the other person's thoughts and memories after touching him. He is a very terrifying person," Ling Fan said. "What about domineering? It will be very common in the New World. I will teach you later." And the Red Earl's side naturally shocked the priest again. How do you know what I'm thinking in my heart?" "Impossible. Could it be that you also have a heart?" the priest asked. I don't need to answer you, you're already dead." The Red Earl revealed a playful smirk, and after his words fell, the priest also showed an expression of extreme fear, obviously as if he had foreseen something terrible. Some things, even if they were foreseen, the final result still cannot be changed. The priest who used the heart outline had no time to control his body. The figure of the Red Earl had already passed by at an extremely fast speed, and he had already arrived in front of the priest in an instant. Hearing a whoosh, the Red Earl reached out with one hand, and locked the priest's throat firmly like pliers. "Sorry, this time, Ling Fan didn't let us show mercy." The Red Earl's eyes were extremely determined. Well, the priest wanted to speak but couldn't at all. The Red Earl's hands are terrifying. "Go to hell." The Red Earl showed no mercy, and with a little force in his hand, the priest's throat was directly pinched and burst. The trial of the ball, the Red Earl passed it so easily. It seems that Zhang is still old and hot. Ling Fan nodded, expressing his appreciation for the Red Earl's skill and decisiveness. Mr. Red Earl is indeed a legend in the sea. Robin also said dumbfounded. You are able to make such a strong person willingly become your subordinate. Ha, then I'll take it as your compliment. Ling Fan smiled faintly, and then watched the rest of the battle in silence. The Golden Lion chose the trial of the marsh. When he came to the end of the Cloud River, the enemy who appeared was Gaydaz, who was wearing a purple suit among the death priests. Ha ha, congratulations on choosing the trial of the swamp. The survival rate of this trial I'm in charge of is 50%. It's either life or death, the priest said. After hearing the priest's words, the Golden Lion laughed wildly afterwards. Ha ha, how many years has it been? How dare someone say such things to this old man? I will let you know what happens if you dare to be my enemy. Golden Lion pulled out his Yingshi and Muku, slashing out waves of sword energy. Chopping. The biggest characteristic of the priest in front of him is that he put the blast shell on his limbs, which can make him faster and can fly in the air. But when it comes to flying in the air, the Golden Lion can naturally do the same. The chopping wave of the Golden Lion was a random sword chi, and the priest finally avoided it perfectly by using his body skills. Ha, it seems that your speed is not bad, but if you are firmly locked by me, no matter how fast you are, it should be of no use, right? Golden Lion said. What do you mean? The priest had some bad premonitions, and then his mind showed him what was about to happen. Impossible. What kind of ability is this? The priest blurted out, controlling the jet, and immediately wanted to escape. At the same time, Shen Guan controls the surrounding marsh clouds in an attempt to stop the Golden Lion. However, the opponent is the Golden Lion, the white-bearded Roger and others are strong men of an era. The Golden Lion has put his hands on the ground, and then said softly, "Lion's majestic roll." Immediately afterwards, the entire ground was completely lifted up, and the ground finally turned into a lion's head, locking the priest firmly in place. Priest, you call yourself an official of the gods. How naive and arrogant. No wonder I don't know you. I hope you can remember your shortcomings in your next life. Golden Lion Shiji is also a villain in the original book, so dealing with enemies is naturally ruthless. The Golden Lion squeezed his hand lightly, and the lion's prestige roll easily crushed the priest into a pile of minced meat. It seems that the Golden Lion has done well, and the trial of the swamp has also been broken, and then there are the trials of the rope and the trial of iron. Ling Fan said. What a terrifying power. This guy is so strong. Robin didn't see the Golden Lion make a move, but when Robin saw the Golden Lion make a move with her own eyes, she realized how terrifying this guy was. Then the two turned their attention to the test of rope on Crocodile's side. Obviously Crocodile has met the trial officer. I am the trial officer of the rope trial. My name is Shira. The pass rate of survival here is only 3%. The trial officer who spoke was wearing an aviator hat and goggles, and he was the Sky Knight on Sky Island. Haha, 3. It doesn't matter what the data is. Although I really don't want to listen to that guy's command, I still want to kill you as soon as possible. The person who spoke was naturally Crocodile. Crocodile was wearing a coat and looked very domineering with a cigar in his mouth. Naturally, he didn't like the priest in front of him at all. You look very strong, but you chose the wrong opponent. Therefore, your final result is death. After the priest finished speaking, he raised his spear and launched an attack on Crocodile in the air. The spear was covered with flames. It can be seen that the priest's attack power is stronger than the previous two. But Crocodile didn't make any moves at all, allowing the priest to stab him like this. Boom. After the flame spear pierced Crocodile's body, the spot where Crocodile was pierced turned into countless sand. What? Impossible. Obviously, the priest has never seen such an enemy. It can only be said that a similar situation has been seen in the god Enelo. Whoosh. Crocodile gathered the sand again. This time Crocodile directly used the sand to completely wrap the priest's body, forming something like a sand-bound coffin to lock the priest. Crocodile in human form had already put his hand on the priest's head. Impossible. Impossible. How can you have the power of a god? The priest was also taken aback. God, I don't know what you're talking about. Are you Sky Island people really weird? Don't you even know the fruits of the natural system? It seems that you are not that powerful, so go die. Crocodile's hands suddenly began to absorb the body of the priest violently. Soon, the priest called Shira turned into a mummy, as if he could no longer die. It seems that their god should also be an ability user of the natural department. Crocodile mused. Crocodile has also killed the enemy in seconds, and then only Barrett is left. 3 of the 4 great priests have died, and Enel is only left with the bear commander. Ling Fan said. Barrett chose the iron trial, and he followed the Cloud River to a place where a person had already blocked his way. There are circles of lines on the right arm of this person, and he holds a knife made of clouds in his hand. Wearing black sunglasses, when drawing the knife, there is a pair of iconic white wings of Sky Island residents on the back. I am the priest of the Iron Trial, Ohm, and the survival rate here is 0%. In other words, you are going to die today, are you ready? Priest Ohm said with a smile. He had no idea what a terrifying opponent he was facing. Ha ha ha. Barrett laughed loudly, and the atmosphere around him became obviously different. Just a piece of garbage like you, you're not even worthy of carrying my shoes. Barrett raised the corners of his mouth, his eyes cast a playful look, and a terrifying aura erupted from Barrett's body in an instant. The surroundings instantly became dark, and what Barrett unleashed was naturally his own arrogance, reaching Barrett's level, priest. It wasn't even enough to fill his teeth. What kind of terrifying aura are you? The priest was dumbfounded and trembling all over. He had never seen such a terrifying aura in his life. Douglas Barrett. Although Barrett's body is huge, his speed is not slow. In just an instant, Barrett has teleported to the side of the priest. Go to hell. This boring trial. Barrett turned his head to the other side, blood had already splashed on his body. Well, the priest looked at his abdomen in disbelief. Well, the priest kept spitting out blood. It turned out that Barrett's arm had completely penetrated his abdomen. Barrett didn't even use his weapon hardening, and he completely killed the priest in front of him simply by relying on his strength and body. 0%. Are you kidding me? It's so boring. Don't call your gods, come out. Barrett then pinched the priest's head with his hands, and lifted it up easily. However, due to the serious injury, the priest in front of him spit out a few mouthfuls of blood, his eyes became loose, and he finally lost his vitality. It's really useless. Barrett casually threw the priest into the river of clouds. Since then, Apiato's 4 trials have all been easily broken by Lingfan's subordinates. Let's go. Since they are all successful, they should continue to look for Enelo's figure, and we should set off. Lingfan said to Robin beside him. Enel, is that the god here? Robin asked. Yeah, this guy calls himself a god, but he's just an arrogant guy. Lingfan knew that Enelu was powerful, but he didn't think he would lose to him. Hey, danger alert. A voice suddenly came from Robin's Iron Man armor. Lingfan also sensed it through knowledge, frowned slightly and said, Jarvis, get out of here and protect Robin. Okay, my lord, Jarvis responded, and immediately controlled the mecha to fly away from the stone statue. At this time, a bolt of lightning suddenly descended from the sky, and Lingfan was already prepared, and immediately used Deadpool's teleportation to dodge it. Just hearing a bang, the huge stone statue was destroyed by lightning. Lingfan appeared on the land of Apiato, but at this time, there were changes around him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, many strange-looking white-clothed angels with wings on their backs appeared around them. Are you the so-called magic soldiers in Sky Island? Why, you also want to attack me? Lingfan found that he was surrounded by magic soldiers. It was obvious that these people were trying to ambush Lingfan, but what about their strength? Obviously, it is too far from Zero Fan. Come on, the commander of the divine soldier, let's make the consciousness of death. After the man who called himself the commander of the divine soldier finished speaking, all the divine soldiers around rushed out one by one, all of them holding special sharp melee weapons. Naturally, Lingfan rushed forward directly, and the Captain America shield in his hand first swung a huge force on the shield and instantly disappeared, and let out a whoosh. Immediately after hearing the sound of boom, the fastest divine soldier was knocked away by Lingfan's shield throw. When the US team's shield came back again, Lingfan caught the shield again and threw it out again. The magic soldiers on the side naturally launched an attack at close range, but Lingfan's knowledge had already seen their movements clearly. Huayan's supersonic speed deepened, and he easily hammered the magic soldiers in front of him one by one with his shield skills. When Ling Fan stopped moving, all the magic soldiers flew up almost instantly. They only felt a severe pain in a certain part of their body, but they didn't know the specific reason. Plop! All the magic soldiers finally fell into the Cloud River. These magic soldiers would never have imagined that the battle would end in an instant. Ha! Is Enelu at his wit's end? So many people have been sent to die. It seems that he is afraid. Ling Fan also said with the corner of his mouth raised. And at this time, another huge thunderbolt descended from the sky. Zzz. Boom. Ling Fan was naturally able to block or avoid it, but this time Ling Fan did not dodge, but directly carried the lightning released by Enelu. Transforming into a Deadpool is naturally enough to bear Enelu's thunder and lightning. At this time, Ling Fan is actually strong enough to bear the thunder and lightning with his own body alone, even if he does not change his body. Although Enelu is a natural ability user, but because the fruit has not been awakened, his strength can only be said to be okay. Therefore, Ling Fan did not suffer any damage. Ling Fan endured the lightning and immediately said, "Jarvis, scan and locate the source of this power." The location has been completed. The source of this power is located in the north, and I will lead you there. After Jarvis finished speaking, he immediately flew up with Robin. This time, Ling Fan naturally chose to follow the steel mech and followed behind him. Nilu, you can't escape now. Ling Fan felt confident. A man not far away smiled slightly and said, didn't expect to be able to defeat the god soldiers and priests. It seems that there are great existences among mortals. As a god's mission, it is to extend the hand of salvation and let them feel the despair. It seems that I have found my place, so I will just wait here for you. On this man's back were 4 big drums engraved with 3 hooks of jade, hanging high, with a white turban wrapped around his head, very long earlobes, all of which grew on his chest. His upper body was naked, his lower half was blooming trousers, he was barefoot, and he was holding a golden stick. He is the self-proclaimed god Enelu. At this moment, Enelu is not nervous at all. In his eyes, it is impossible for a mortal to defeat a god. Gather these mortals. It's just a catch. Discharge. Enelu's left hand turned into a thunderbolt, and the thunderbolt was so powerful that it immediately rushed high into the sky and released it towards Barrett, the Red Earl, the Golden Lion, and the Sand Crocodile. Because the purpose of releasing the thunderbolt was to attract others to come over, Enelu's move naturally exposed his position on his own initiative. Thunder Fruit. What an amazing power! Robin exclaimed. It's impossible to become a strong person just by relying on fruits. As for gods, that's even more outrageous. Interesting. Nilu, he took the initiative to expose his position. I really don't know whether to say he is arrogant or stupid. At this time, Ling Fan accelerated his speed, and he naturally hoped that he could understand Nilu himself. Ling Fan was burning with flames all over his body. Obviously, Ling Fan was using the flying ability of Johnny Thunderbolt to shuttle over the Sky Island at an extremely fast speed. Soon, Ling Fan arrived at the destination he wanted to reach. This is. Robin looked around, and there were many collapsed houses covered with moss. This is an ancient ruin, and the Golden City hundreds of years ago is here. Ling Fan still has some understanding of these places. Are you finally here? One is burning with flames. The other looks like a robot. What are you? A man asked while sitting high above a cloud of white mist. Nilu, we are here to defeat you. The person in front of him is naturally the target of Ling Fan's trip, the god of Sky Island. This is really interesting. You're just from Qinghai, you don't seem to understand who you're talking to. Enelu just recited it like this. It seems that you haven't understood the existence of the so-called gods. Although in this world, it doesn't matter what the little shrimps want, but there are mistakes in this country. Enel said. You want to destroy Sky Island, right? Sorry, I can't let you do that, because Sky Island will be my territory. Ling Fan patted his chest and said. Your territory? It doesn't matter. Once God completes his journey, he will return to the place he should return to. You can occupy the empty island, but I will return to the place God should return to. People call that place the Infinite Land. Enel Road said enthusiastically. I'm sorry, you can't go back with me here. Ling Fan has already killed the 4 priests under Enelu, so naturally he will not let Enelu leave alive. Huh, it's up to you. Extremely stupid. Enelu began to turn the golden stick in his hand, and then pointed at Ling Fan. At the same time, Enelu's other hand instantly gathered a large amount of lightning. 200 million volts. Discharge. The electric light rushed towards Ling Fan in an instant. Jarvis, stay a little farther away, Ling Fan said. Immediately afterwards, the lightning had surged up, and Ling Fan immediately pulled out the shield of the American team behind him, and stood in front of him, only to hear a voice of, "Stab!" And the thunder and lightning had already started to flash, but Ling Fan's whole body was not hit by the lightning because of the shield's resistance. Ahahaha, that's right, it's good to be able to resist the Lord's discharge. Why don't you go to the infinite land with me? Only the chosen ones can live in that land. Even such a few hours of survival games are unbearable. My old subordinates, even if they live there, they will command to lower the country's standard. Nilu threw an olive branch to Ling Fan and others. It is obvious that Nilu wants to choose 4 of his men to go to the infinite land. Ling Fan naturally couldn't agree and said, "No, I will send you to hell next." Flames burst out from Ling Fan's body with a bang, and the blazing flames immediately burned the clouds around his feet to scorched black. Oh, interesting. There is a shield that can release flames. It seems that you really have a strong ability. I'll play with you. Enelu smiled and opened his palm again. Just hearing, zzz, in the palm of Enelu's palm, countless electric lights flashed at once. Fire fist. Ling Fan punched out as if he had eaten a burning fruit, and the lightning and flame collided together, which was very dazzling. Robin beside him was stunned. He had never seen such a shocking battle in these years. Ahaha, I want to see how strong you are. Enelu shouted loudly, and then struck his own taiko drum, and the thunder and lightning quickly condensed into a Thunderbird Phoenix. Thunderbird Phoenix rushed out against the wind, and attacked Ling Fan. Ling Fan held the US team's shield, and also shouted loudly. Afterwards, he rushed towards Thunderbird. The shield in his hand had been unconsciously covered with armed color. The black armed color covered the shield, instantly becoming more indestructible. The Thunderbird hit the shield firmly, and then thunder and lightning shot out, and the Edelman metal shield completely carried the thunder and lightning down. Enelud's eyes were wide open. He never thought that the shield in front of him could block his Thunderbird. What kind of shield is this? It's so strong, Enelu asked. From your tone, it seems extremely dissatisfied. Ling Fan asked back. There is nothing to be dissatisfied with. I don't believe it. I can't split your shield with my lightning. Enelu didn't give up, but he can use a maximum voltage of 600 million volts. 600 million volts. Brontosaurus. Enelu tapped the taiko drums on his shoulders, and more lightning flashed from his body, and then the lightning instantly transformed into a ferocious Brontosaurus. The Thunder Dragon's voltage is fully twice as strong as the Thunderbird's voltage just now. The huge thunder light seemed to be able to tear everyone apart, but Ling Fan once again raised his shield and stood in front of him. Ahaha, good guy, do you still plan to fight it? This is my proud skill. Enelu laughed and released the Thunder Dragon in his hand mercilessly. Ah, it seemed that the roaring sound of the Thunder Dragon could be heard, and when the Thunder Dragon hit, Ling Fan immediately felt a terrifying force, which naturally came from the voltage of 6,000 million volts and the impact force of the Thunder Dragon. Ling Fan's body took a few steps back slowly, and Ling Fan's feet firmly fixed his body completely. The Thunder Dragon impacted for a few seconds, and its power gradually decreased. The 6,000 million volt Brontosaurus was actually dissolved just like that. This is impossible. It actually resisted my Thunder Dragon. Something's wrong. What kind of shield are you? Enelu panicked. It's not the sword that is powerful, but who uses it? The shield is the same. In my hands, even if the sky falls, I can use the shield in my hand to block it. Ling Fan said confidently. Stop talking nice words. I will beat you. A mere Qinghai native dares to be disrespectful to God. After Enelu said this, his body turned into a bolt of lightning and disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was already beside Ling Fan. One uses a golden stick and the other uses a Captain America shield. The US team has countless fighting skills. In the close quarters, it can deflect Enelu's stick attack very flexibly and fight back. However, because both sides are very knowledgeable, both of them can avoid each other's attacks. In the end, the original close combat became a long-distance combat again. You are very strong, but you are immortal after all. I'm afraid you can't keep up with the speed of thunder. Enelu's mouth slightly raised, his eyes showed a bloodthirsty look, and he looked like he had won. Chapter 91. The Speed of Thunder and Lightning. Ling Fan really couldn't keep up with the speed of thunder and lightning. Although thunder and lightning are not as exaggerated as the speed of light, they are definitely not what humans can keep up with. However, the problem is that no matter how strong Enelo is, it is impossible to keep his own speed at the speed of lightning for a long time. The flashing fruit of the yellow ape Pelusilino is faster, but it cannot continue to maintain the speed of light. And Ling Fan, as long as you transform into Kuayin, you can maintain supersonic speed during the transformation, whether it is moving or attacking, you can continue to maintain it. Ling Fan immediately transformed silently, and a slight change appeared in his body. In addition to Robin needing the protection of Iron Man's armor, Zero Fan also needs to fuse two heroes. First, he chose Kuayin, and secondly, he chose Deadpool, who has the strongest comprehensive ability. Deadpool and Kuayin merged into Ling Fan's body, and Ling Fan's full power was instantly improved. 500 million volts. Discharge. Enelo's electric light is much faster this time, but Ling Fan's speed has obviously improved a notch. Swish, swish. Ling Fan quickly shuttled between the thunder and lightning. The speed was so fast that it was intriguing. Enelo's knowledgeable domineering power was turned on, and he naturally captured Ling Fan's movement trajectory. What? The speed is so fast. Enelo couldn't believe it, and 500 million volts was enough for the lightning to convert into a range attack. Enelu gritted his teeth and said, "I'm a god." After that, Enelu shouted loudly, and struck the taiko drum on his back again, centering on Enelu, a more powerful and larger-scale thunder light spread outward. For ordinary people, not to mention being hit in the front, even a slight touch will instantly turn the whole body into ashes. And Ling Fan didn't have a shield this time, but Ling Fan still walked forward step by step facing the thunder light. The thunder and lightning hit Ling Fan's body like this, and Ling Fan's hair stood on end, but Ling Fan still marched towards Enelo unyieldingly. Could it be that my voltage is not enough? Even so, I haven't fallen down yet. How is this possible? Enelu was refreshed again and again. After all, the person in front of him was too weird. Although Ling Fan's whole body suffered huge lightning damage, he would recover in the next second. Even if his skin was torn apart by lightning, he would heal himself in the next second. Ling Fan's fusion is Deadpool. With a self-healing ability that surpasses that of Wolverine, it is naturally impossible for mere lightning to really hurt Ling Fan. Ling Fan just advanced to Enelu's side, then raised his fist and punched him. Nilu was so shocked that he couldn't speak. He never expected that, as a god, he was forced to withstand his 500 million volt attack by a mere Qinghai people. Boom. Enel was in shock. Naturally ignoring the arrogance of his knowledge, his body was instantly punched flying, boom. Enel finally fell into the ancient ruins. Next, it's my time. Ling Fan smiled, and quickly came to Enelu's side with Kuayin's ability. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Ling Fan raised his hands and started beating Enelu wildly. After an unknown number of punches, Enelu released more powerful lightning from his body, and Ling Fan stopped. Enelu said 3 hateful words, obviously extremely angry. As a human being, you dare to go beyond. How dare you deal with me as a god? Punishment must be given. Sanctions must be imposed. God's sanction. Enelu flew high into the air. Raising his hands high, his wrist instantly turned into flickering thunder and lightning. The thunder and lightning accumulated more and more, and finally became an extremely terrifying collection of thunder and light. Enelu used his knowledge and arrogance to completely lock on Ling Fan, then pointed his hands at Ling Fan, and then said, "Go to hell." God's punishment. Just listening to the sound of boom, a huge lightning column of lightning descended from the sky. This lightning column is so huge that ordinary people can't avoid it at all, and Enelu has locked Ling Fan with an air machine. Even if Ling Fan uses supersonic speed, he can't avoid the lightning. Boom, boom. Enelu killed extremely decisively, and finally let the thunder and lightning completely strike Ling Fan. The cloud under Ling Fan's feet was completely pierced by lightning. The angels from Sky Island saw this scene one after another, and no one knew what happened. Ling Fan, Robin shouted with great concern. Jarvis, is there any trace of Ling Fan? Robin asked. Sorry, I didn't find any trace of Master Ling Fan, Jarvis said. Robin's eyes instantly lost their color. However, Enelu's knowledgeable domineering lost the trace of Ling Fan. Obviously, Enelu's blow hit Ling Fan very accurately, and Ling Fan was naturally hit by Enelu's divine lightning, and finally turned into flying ash. Ahahahahaha, have you finally tasted the power of God? You are immortal. After all, you are only a mortal. Enelu naturally laughed very proudly. Robin also felt a sense of emptiness in his heart. Ling Fan, did you really die just like that? Then, there was a voice. Anil, look who I am. Ling Fan's voice suddenly sounded from behind Anil. Anil was taken aback, turned around immediately, and became elemental at the same time. Boom! With a heavy punch, Anilu's body was blown away again. This time, Anilu was directly punched and vomited blood, as if he had suffered a lot of injuries. How is this possible? Why are you still alive? And your attack can touch me. What's the reason? Anilu remembered that he was already elementalized, and logically speaking, no mortal could touch him. The person who attacked Anilu was naturally Ling Fan. The reason why Ling Fan could not find it was because he used Deadpool's teleportation belt and teleported silently to Anilu's side. The reason why Ling Fan can touch the ability users of the natural system is naturally to use the armed color domineering. At this time, Ling Fan didn't intend to procrastinate any longer. His whole body was completely covered by the black armed color. In this way, no matter how exaggerated thunder is used by Anilu, it will not hurt Ling Fan in the slightest. Nilu, next, it's time to fulfill my promise. Ling Fan said. Your promise? What do you mean? Anilu was a little confused. Have you forgotten? I said, I want you to go to hell. Ling Fan smiled slightly, and Anilu gritted his teeth and scolded, you are just from Qinghai. You make me angry. Angry? So what? Ling Fan smiled, looking at the angry Anilu and provocatively. I am angry. I will use the strongest trick to understand you. A large amount of lightning flashed from Enel's body, and the thunder and lightning all over his body surrounded him. At this moment, Enel's voltage reached an unprecedented state. 200 million volts. Million volts thunder god. Enelu has turned into a huge Thor form, with lightning lingering in his body, and the whole Apayado began to shake. At the same time, Ling Fan's subordinates have also arrived. So it's the guy who owns the Thunderbolt fruit. The Red Earl asked Enelu, who was in front of him. Yeah, this guy is about to launch the strongest move. Ling Fan said. Do you need our help? Golden Lion and others asked. No, you just need to protect Robin. Ling Fan planned to transform into Hulk to withstand the attack of 500 million volts. But at this time, the divine plan made a sound. Hello, host, you still haven't drawn a lottery. Do you want to draw now? Maybe there will be unexpected gains. The divine plan also reminded. What? When will there be a chance to draw a lottery? Ling Fan knows that when the divine plan communicates with himself, the time of the entire world will be suspended, so he can have unscrupulous conversations. When you defeated Crocodile and Hawkeye, the battle against the two Shichibukai has already caused a lot of topics in the sea, enough to become a big event, so you won a lottery opportunity. However, because your recent attention is not on my side, you will temporarily forget me. I reminded you halfway. The divine plan said. Reminded? Why don't I have an impression? Ling Fan shook his head and said, forget it, is there anything to explain about this lottery draw? In this lottery, 5 heroes can be randomly selected. You can block 2 of them and randomly select 3 of them. Divine plan said. Then let's start quickly, I hope these characters will be useful for the next battle. Ling Fan said. The divine plan then said. The number 1 hero, Professor X, mutants have the most powerful psychic abilities in the world. The number 2 hero, Loki, the god of trickery, Thor's younger brother, possesses many magical abilities. The number 3 hero, Thor, the god of thunder and power in Norse mythology, possesses extremely strong power and the ability to control thunder and lightning. The number 4 hero, the Winter Soldier, Barnes, is a good friend of the US team and has a strong combat power. Number 5 hero, Doctor Strange, the mysterious magician, Marvel's first-line hero. Ling Fan thought about it for a while, and first ruled out Barnes. Since there is Captain America, it is not very useful to have the Winter Soldier. Professor X and Doctor Strange will definitely stay, both of which are terrifyingly strong. It seems that we can only choose one of Thor and Loki. Ling Fan said to himself. Because of the influence of Marvel movies, Ling Fan finally chose Thor. I choose Thor, Ling Fan said. Okay, then randomly choose one among Professor X, Thor, and Doctor Strange. 5 seconds later, the Divine Plan said, the selection has been completed. Congratulations on winning Thor. Thor, it's not bad. Ling Fan is not so dissatisfied. The Hulk, Captain America, and Iron Man in the Avengers have all of them, and Thor naturally can't escape. Do you want to transform into Thor? Fight the enemy in front of you? Ask the Divine Plan. Ling Fan naturally knows the meaning of the Divine Plan, and Enelu in front of him is naturally the best touchstone for Ling Fan to transform into Thor. Transform into Thor. I want to try Thor's power. Ling Fan responded, and the familiar white light swept across his body. Then he was wearing the armor of the Asa Protoss, with a scarlet cloak on his back, swaying in the wind. Ling Fan's hair also turned red, and he grew a lot of red beard. There is an extra hammer on the right hand. This hammer is naturally Thor's hammer, named Mjolnir. It is said that it can knock any object into the air. Everything around gradually took on color, and Ling Fan's eyes locked on Enelu. Go to hell. Enelu locked onto Ling Fan at this time, and the huge million-voltage thunder god overwhelmingly attacked Ling Fan. Idiot, do you think you are the only one who can use the power of thunder and lightning? Thor's hammer. Ling Fan raised Thor's hammer high, and there was a roar in the sky. Immediately afterwards, countless thunderbolts burst out from the air, all of which were attracted by Ling Fan. The thunder light that was more terrifying than volts of Thor appeared all over Ling Fan's body. Even his eyes and mouth were shining with thunderbolts. Ling Fan completely turned into a thunderbolt man. What's the situation? Enelu lost his mind again. Of course he didn't know what happened to Ling Fan, but he had a bad premonition. Go. Enelu turned into Thor and slapped it, and Ling Fan also picked up Thor's hammer and smashed it. With a whoosh, the two narrowed the distance, punched and hammered together, and there was only a bang, and the thunder and lightning in the entire sky struck the two of them. What? Drink. I'm a god. From Qinghai. You can't defeat me. Enel still shouted frantically. God, your so-called god is a fart. I am the serious Thor. After Ling Fan finished speaking, there was a lot of thunder and lightning around him, and Enelo's thunder and lightning were naturally at a disadvantage. It's impossible. I ate the thunderbolt fruit. Why can you control such a huge amount of thunder and lightning? Enelu used his last strength to resist Ling Fan while showing an unbelievable look. Because I am Thor, Ling Fan yelled. The strength in his hands increased 100 times, and the lightning, impact and domineering instantly crushed Enelu. Immediately after hearing a boom, Enelu was completely defeated. I didn't expect that I would be defeated by you. Enelu's body slowly fell from the sky, and his body was already scorched black by lightning. HMPH. I won't give you a chance to live. Ling Fan didn't stop there, but turned Thor's hammer, and the whole person flew up like this, trying to kill Enelu completely. Electrotherapy. Enelu used lightning to pace his heart, and soon the heart started beating again. I want to escape, but you can't stop me. With all his strength, Enelu turned his body into lightning and quickly flew to another place. Where can you escape to? Everyone, catch up with Enel. This guy must die. Ling Fan gave the order, and then his subordinates also quickly chased in the direction of Enel. Could this guy want to go to Infinite Land in that spaceship? Ling Fan guessed. It's possible. Don't let it run away. Ling Fan made up his mind this time, so naturally he chased after him again. Enelu was full of fanaticism. As long as you reach the Arc Proverbs, I will make you look good. Mortals. Enel still has his last whole card. Ling Fan's speed cannot reach the speed of lightning, he is not the Flash. However, Enelu used his ability of Thundering Fruit to come to the Arc Proverb. He quickly released the thunder and lightning on the Arc Proverb, and the Arc Proverb was already driven. But because of this, the location of Enelu was exposed again. Ling Fan came a little faster. Arc Proverbs. Unleash the thunderclouds. Activate. I don't know if it was voice activated. After Enelu finished speaking, a large number of black thunderclouds were discharged from the chimney of Arc's proverb. The thunderclouds were densely covered and easily covered the entire sky of Apayado. The thunderclouds continued to discharge, and it was only a matter of time before the entire sky island was shrouded in darkness. Use this huge thundercloud. I don't care what kind of unusual human you are. You will eventually become my defeat. This country will also be destroyed because of you, Enelo said enthusiastically. At this moment, Ling Fan and others finally came to the vicinity of the Ark Proverbs. Looking at this strange shape, Ling Fan naturally knew that this was the proverb of the Ark. Enelu is on this ship. Ling Fan then turned the Thor's hammer in his hand, and was the first to land on the deck of the Ark Proverbs. You're here, but it's too late. Thunderclouds have covered the surroundings, and you will never be able to beat me here, Enelo said confidently. I don't know where your confidence comes from. Ling Fan then raised his hand and threw the Thor's hammer in his hand. Hearing a swish, the Thor's hammer hit the seat in the middle of the Ark Proverbs. Enelu naturally avoided Ling Fan's attack by elementalization. Enelu took a quick step forward, stabbing Ling Fan with the high electric heat spear in his hand. Ling Fan still didn't dodge, just smiled. There is a problem. After Enelu realized it, he dodged immediately, and Thor's hammer returned to Ling Fan's hand. Your weapon can actually fly back to your hand. What kind of weapon is this? Enelo asked with interest. Thor's hammer. After Ling Fan finished speaking, he covered Thor's hammer with the armed color and swung it up again. It's this black thing again. It can touch my elemental body. It must not be hit. Enelo used his spear very carefully to start a close combat with Ling Fan. Although you know about color, you really don't know anything about armed color, and you don't even know about overlord color, Ling Fan said while avoiding Enelu's attack. What is that thing? Enelu didn't understand what Ling Fan was talking about, and he didn't want to understand. In his eyes, Ling Fan was just a powerful human being in Qinghai. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't enter his eyes. However, Enelo soon discovered that his attack could not attack the opponent at all. Naturally, there was only one explanation for this situation. You also know the mind net. When I first met you, you could control flames and possess an extremely powerful shield, and then you could become extremely fast. Now you can control lightning. Could it be? You're not human at all. You're also a god. Enelo thought more and more that it was possible. Since you are a god, it's normal to have so many and such magical abilities. I can forget everything you did to me just now, and my invitation is still valid. You can go to the infinite land with me. Nilu sent an invitation to Ling Fan again. Being your subordinate, I don't want to. Ling Fan's attack was a little bit more aggressive, and he rejected Enelu. You don't have to be my subordinate. It's a big deal to be equal. Enelu had been hurt to a certain extent, but now he took a step back. Let me go with you, unless you call me dad. Ling Fan's attack became more and more fierce, and Nilu couldn't stop it anymore. Asshole, you're kidding me, Enel cursed. Yes, Ling Fan admitted generously, which made Enelo even more angry. Ha, be proud of yourself. This last move, you can't block it at all. Enelu's expression changed, and then he pointed his index finger into the air, and a thunderbolt immediately rushed into the sky. The banquet, let's start. Enelu then turned his index finger into a palm, and countless thunder and lightning immediately split from the dark clouds. Lei Ying, Enelu shouted loudly, and in the wide area thundercloud created by Ark Proverbs, Enelu released the lightning he created. The thunderclouds began to condense together, and finally turned into a huge spherical black cloud. The black ball was like a meteorite, filled with astonishing air currents and electric currents. The black ball thundercloud descended from the sky, and its target was actually Ling Fan. I wanted to kill the country and its people with Lei Ying, but your appearance made me change my mind. Kill you first. That's my goal now. Enelo smiled frantically. Ling Fan also looked at everything in front of him with some seriousness. Lei Ying was the most powerful attack that Enelu used with the Ark Proverbs, and even the Admiral of the Navy might not be able to block it. An extraordinary blow. However, I can dodge it well. Have you forgotten that I can teleport? Ling Fan also asked this question. Ha, then you can think about it. Those mortals on Angel Island will suffer for you. If Ling Fan doesn't block this move, then the innocent people of Sky Island will bear such an attack instead of Ling Fan. In that case, everyone, please take Robin away. Ling Fan then summoned the Iron Man mech back. Change. Ling Fan now merged with Hulk, Deadpool, and Thor. The three heroes of the Marvel world were completely integrated into Ling Fan's body. Ling Fan also rushed directly towards Lei Ying of Enel Road. I'll let you see. What is the real god? Ling Fan finally bumped into Lei Ying's black ball. The power of Hulk, the regenerated Deadpool, the invincible Thor. And myself. A terrifying kingly aura erupted from Ling Fan, which was so powerful that it could firmly suppress Enelo so that he couldn't move. Thunder. Ling Fan raised his Thor's hammer, and thunder and lightning were immediately projected from the dark clouds. With a crash, the thunder and lightning were given to Thor's hammer, and Thor's hammer passed the thunder and lightning to Ling Fan's whole body. Ling Fan turned into Lightning Man again, and Ling Fan shouted, "Break it!" Ling Fan swung Thor's hammer and slammed it hard on Lei Ying's black cloud ball. Boom, boom. After Lei Ying's ball burst, a large amount of energy exploded again. Without Deadpool's regeneration power, Ling Fan would have been reduced to ashes long ago. Broken. Ling Fan swung Thor's hammer again, and this time, the black cloud ball finally shattered. This Enelu doesn't know what to say anymore. Is this something humans can do? God can't do it, right? Enel fell silent. Enelu never imagined that Lei Ying, who used the Arc Proverbs to exert all his strength, would be destroyed so easily. He stared blankly at Ling Fan. At this time, Ling Fan's clothes were a little messy, but his body healed quickly, as if he had never been injured. What a powerful self-healing ability this is. Jin Shizi and others naturally noticed all this. Ling Fan is not invincible, but can heal himself quickly even if he is injured. This is an ability that makes everyone jealous. I Nilu, go to hell. Ling Fan didn't have any mercy, and had teleported to I Nilu's side in the next second. When I Nilu was in a daze, he couldn't keep his focus at all, and naturally he couldn't open his knowledge and arrogance. Just listening to the sound of Ku Kai, the sword in Ling Fan's hand has already submerged into Enelo's body. The sword covered with the armed color can naturally easily touch the natural ability users, not to mention that Enelu is not elementalized. Even if he is elementalized, the final result is still pierced by Ling Fan. Enel looked at Ling Fan with rather desperate eyes, and said with pain, "God is infinite." In the end, Enelu's eyes were slightly closed, and Enelu, the self-proclaimed god, finally lost his breath. Finally, I'm dead. Ling Fan thought that he had wasted too much time on Enel. Later, Ling Fan realized that because the power systems of Marvel and Pirates are completely different, after the transformation, the system will specially balance the power after the transformation. It will not be too strong, and of course it will not be too weak. After solving the four great priests, divine soldiers, and the god of Sky Island, Enel, there are still the original god Gonfoer on Sky Island, as well as Sandia warriors, and the White Beret troops on Angel Island, but these are naturally nothing to worry about. In the following days, Ling Fan focused on other things. First, Ling Fan established a branch of the Avengers Alliance on Sky Island, and secondly, he set his sights on the Arc Proverbs. Such a ship was not originally intended for sailing on the sea. Enelo can use lightning to drive this ship. I think after our transformation, this ship can become more suitable for us. The brain of Ling Fan's Iron Man is at work. That's right, what Ling Fan needs is not just a powerful fleet, but a group of air forces that can attack the enemy in the air at any time, so research on airships has become a top priority. Ling Fan almost dismantled the Arc Proverbs, and finally used the materials on the empty island to complete a small Avenger airship. This airship is not big and can accommodate not many people, but it is a true airship. This is a fluttering fruit that does not require a golden lion, and an airship that can rise and fall freely. Jarvis, is there anything that needs to be improved? Ling Fan asked while doing the final test. Not anymore, neither good nor bad. For now, this airship is already very good. Jarvis replied. That's right, but I still need more shipbuilding materials and helpers, so that I can make more airships, and then I can form my air force. Ling Fan's goal is naturally to form an ultra-powerful armed army of land, sea and air, which will be invincible by then. The Navy, the world government, and the four emperors will be defeated by Ling Fan. The question is, where can I get more shipbuilding materials and helpers? Jarvis asked. Ling Fan responded. The capital of water, Carrera Company. Although the shipbuilder Tom is dead, but Frankie, Bingshan and the CP9 guys should be there, right? Although I don't understand, it's okay if you have a goal. In theory, if you find enough manufacturing materials and manufacturing personnel, you can use your design to complete the construction of an air force. Jarvis said. Ling Fan nodded. Time waits for no one. In the last days of Sky Island, Ling Fan and Robin visited Angel Island together, went to the ancient ruins, and finally found the historical text and the words left by Roger. After storing the magnetic force of the recording pointer, Ling Fan returned to the place where he came to Beibai. He scattered his knowledge and arrogance, found the edge of Haiyan, and then controlled the warship and airship to return to Gaia Island where he started. Immediately afterwards, he led his fleet to a new island. Because of the stored magnetic force, the fleet naturally has a very clear goal, and the warship is like a horse, galloping on the endless sea. After a few days, everyone came to Shind Island. Ling Fan looked at the record pointer and said, "We have arrived at a new island, here we still need to set up a branch, let's stay for half a day." The appearance of this island is very strange. It is shaped like a long ring, but it is actually 10 small islands. Seeing this, Ling Fan naturally knows the name of this island, Changwon Island. However, at this moment, there are not many people in Changwon Island, only some islanders. After staying for a while, Ling Fan left behind a small group of people, occupied Changwon Island, and then continued to set off. After driving on the sea for a few days, Ling Fan found an interesting creature swimming freestyle in the sea, and finally the frog stopped on the sea, staring at one direction without moving. Is this a horizontal bar? Tom's pet. Ling Fan was familiar with the original work and naturally knew the plot, and then everyone heard it. Clang clang clang. The sound of the train running. It turned out that the sea train was whistling and smoking, and it was coming from afar. The frog shouted loudly, and was about to use his body to stop the train, but the final result was naturally being knocked into the air. Ling Fan and the others paid attention to the sea train, so naturally someone was paying attention to them. A brat with twin ponytails saw Ling Fan and the others, because Ling Fan had too many warships, the kid was also taken aback. "Grandma, there are so many boats," said the little girl. "What?" A drunken woman fell to the ground. Ling Fan didn't have any malice, so he stopped his warship in place, and brought Robin to the sea station. "Hello, my name is Ling Fan. I don't mean anything malicious. I just want to ask, how far is it from the capital of water?" Ling Fan asked. It turned out to be an ordinary traveler. "My name is Kei Keluo, and this is Zimini." Kei Keluo pointed to his granddaughter. "The capital of water is not far from here," Zimone said. "So that's it, thank you very much, I have some good wine and some delicious food, I'll give it to you." Ling Fan was very generous, waved his hand, and his subordinates brought over the food and drink. "Wow, it's so delicious. The wine tastes good too." The two of them and a kitten were very happy to eat. "That was," Robin asked. "Sea trains, which use steam to drive on sea tracks, are the only ones in the world," Zimoni said with some pride. "Orbit?" Robin asked. "That's right, just a little lower than the Sleep. The trains are running in the agreed range, transporting passengers between islands, as well as boats and some mail packages," Zimoni explained. Robin then took a few steps before he saw the buoy and the signal light. "It's really dangerous, Ling Fan, why have you seen this kind of thing?" Robin asked. "Me," Ling Fan touched his head and said, "I have seen it, but the track in my place is built on land, and all the trains are driven by electricity, and few are driven by steam." "Is it your hometown before you were 8 years old?" Robin asked curiously. "That's right," Ling Fan could only prevaricate. "Where do you want to go?" "The capital of 7 waters refers to the 7 places. If you take the sea train from here, the capital of the Spring Queen, Street Poplar, the food town of Butch, and the carnival town of Sand Fault are all good," Granny Kei Keluo said. "Let's go east according to the record pointer," Ling Fan replied. "Oh, it's called the capital of water. It's a good place. It's a city with a very well-developed shipbuilding industry. The shipbuilding technology is the best in the world. All the ships are built for the exclusive use of the dignitaries of the world government. It's amazing," Granny Kei Keluo said very proudly. "So, there are shipbuilders, ship repairers, and all kinds of materials?" Robin asked. "Of course, that's where the world's strongest ship repairers and shipbuilders gather. Granny K. Keluo said. Excellent, our purpose is to build a ship there, thank you, Granny K. Keluo. Ling Fan thanked. Wait a minute, I'll get you something. K. Keluo entered the room drunkenly, and took out a piece of paper. This is a simple map of the island and a letter of introduction. Give it to a man named Bingshan, and ask him to help you repair your boat. The capital of water is very large, so don't get lost. Granny K. Keluo urged. Thank you. Ling Fan expressed his gratitude again. In the sea, there are people who take the initiative to attack without saying a word, and there are also people like K. Keluo and Zimoni who like to help others. Goodbye. Robin Ling Fan waved, and then Robin and Ling Fan returned to their fleet. Let's go. Continue to set off according to the position of the record pointer, and we will soon reach the capital of water. Then Ling Fan opened the map. I'll go. It's really hard to guard against. Ling Fan said he was a little embarrassed. What's wrong? Robin looked at the map, and then couldn't help laughing. After all, Granny K. Keluo's paintings are the same as no paintings. The weather was clear and cloudless, and Ling Fan and his party moved forward with the wind, and soon saw the island. That should be the capital of water, we are almost there. Speed up. Ling Fan gave the order, and the whole army began to move quickly. But Ling Fan was thinking about a question in his heart: how could his fleet land in the water capital without attracting attention? After thinking for a long time, Ling Fan didn't have a reliable answer, so he had to give up in the end. Forget it, why do you think so much? I'm the king of Chi Wuhai. A strong person like me should be easily discovered by those CP9, right? Since I'm going to be discovered, I have nothing to do. If the Navy and the world government dare to attack me and Robin, I will make him look good. Ling Fan showed a cold smile. The capital of water is within easy reach. The seawater spewing upwards is crystal clear and spectacular. After the seawater spews out, the seawater flows down to form a waterfall, and the waterfall slowly flows into the sea after passing through the water tank. Hey, is it a pirate? Is it not good to enter from the front? Why don't you go around to the back street? A very ordinary fisherman reminded. Okay, Ling Fan, who had just arrived, naturally waved his hand, and the entire fleet turned around, preparing to cross the back street. After seeing the densely packed warships, the fisherman became dumbfounded. This kind of fleet, I thought it was the Navy headquarters. Who are these pirates? The fisherman is also terrified. Fortunately, I am lucky. If this guy is a ruthless character and kills me, then I will die for nothing. The fisherman was completely in no mood to fish. However, Ling Fan and the others were very interested. They stood on the deck and looked around. After all, the surrounding scenery was really beautiful, and there was a strong feeling of Venice, a city on the water. Interesting, won't the house sink into the sea if it soaks for a long time? Ling Fan also asked casually. Robin replied with great interest. This is a city picked up from the foundation sunk in the sea. Look at the foundation stone under the house. Yes, there are elevated pillars under the house. Ling Fan nodded. Robin is still quite knowledgeable, so he can become a very young scholar. Hey, are you pirates? Are you here to kill and set fire? An uncle asked. We are only here to repair the ship. Ling Fan replied. In this case, there is a cape not far ahead, and you can park your boat there. The uncle shouted. Okay, Zero Fan replied. Afterwards, the entire warship sailed into the water capital and came to the cape that the uncle said. Although the cape is very unpleasant, it is located on the back of the water capital, and no one cares about it, but the purpose of Ling Fan's coming is not for war. The warship was moored in place, leaving a group of men stationed here. The strong only left the giants and Walpo, and the others moved freely. Ling Fan and Robin came to the brew rental house. Welcome. Do you want to rent brew? The uncle in the store asked very friendly. How many of you are there? The uncle asked. 2 people. Ling Fan replied. Let us rent an Agala blue for 2 people. Ling Fan was familiar with the plot, so naturally he said except for the type of blue. Wow, it seems that you often rent out blue. Come on, come with me, and pick it up in the fish pond. Seeing that Ling Fan came here with a purpose, the uncle naturally thought that Ling Fan was a regular customer. 1,000 Baileys in total. This is 5,000 Baileys. I want the best brew. Ling Fan was naturally rich and powerful. After the uncle charged the Baileys, his eyes lit up. No problem. Then the uncle naturally chose the best brew for Ling Fan. Anyway, it was Elise, so the uncle didn't feel bad. Ling Fan sat on Bruce, and Robin also landed on it. Come here, is there anything you want? Ling Fan asked. If there are books, don't mind if you buy some for me. Robin said. Of course. Ling Fan nodded. I'll give you a super detailed map. The uncle who rented Blue also gave Ling Fan a map. Looking at this map, Ling Fan can travel more conveniently in the water capital. The reason why this blue horse is called the best is that it is very strong, quite stable, and very human. Ling Fan said. Let's go. This Bruce shuttled back and forth as fast as a horse. Riding Brew on the waterway of the water capital, passing through the residential area halfway, people greeted him from time to time near the location. A fork in the road suddenly appeared on the way, and the water flow in the fork was different. Robin naturally asked, there is a fork in the road, is Bruce okay? Of course, not only is Bruce okay, but he can also take a shortcut. After Ling Fan finished speaking, Bruce climbed up the waterway on the left as quickly as lightning, and finally arrived at the shopping street after going through a curve like a roller coaster. The shopping street is very lively. There are medium-sized Bulu carrying passengers, and vendors riding on Bulu hawking on the river, and the shops on the river bank are also full of people. Sister, this is very cheap. How about this? A rare good product. From now on, it's 50 off time. The cries of selling were endless, and it was the first time Robin saw such a lively scene. Freshly baked Mizumi takoyaki, 2 water croquettes, Bruce, who was sitting down, was obviously hungry, and Ling Fan would naturally not let his mount be hungry, and of course he would not let him eat too much. Give me 20 servings. Ling Fan bought a lot of water and meat, except for Robin and himself, the rest were given to his mounts in turn. Exercise well, after digestion, there will be more. Ling Fan encouraged, and Brew was naturally more enthusiastic. I can't tell, you still know how to take care of animals. Robin praised. Yes, I can take care of not only animals, but also people. Ling Fan smiled slightly, and then said, I should be arriving at Shipbuilding Island soon. Watergate elevator. Ling Fan said. What's a Watergate? Robin asked. I'll know right away. Ling Fan drove Brew into the Watergate elevator. At the elevator door, a lovely young lady shouted, the elevator leads to the Shipbuilding Island, and it will reach the shipyard and the central street of the water capital. Please hurry up and enter the gate. There is still 1 minute before the gate closes. Soon, the gate was closed. Immediately afterwards, the seawater under Bruce began to rise steadily, quickly sending everyone to a higher position. What a good idea. Robin was also amazed. The gate above opened again, and Ling Fan and Robin finally came to the central street of the water capital. The surrounding buildings were stepped up and higher, but there were relatively more land here. What's going on there? Robin asked, pointing to the crowded place. I don't know, let's go and have a look. Ling Fan and Robin got off Brew. Seeing a relatively friendly passerby, Ling Fan asked, excuse me, what happened here? The uncle replied, I heard that there were pirates making trouble in this dock, but of course they were defeated by the boatmen. There are so many idiots. Boatmen defeated the pirate. Robin also felt very strange. It seems that you are travelers. The boatmen of the Carrera Company are the idols of the residents here. They are strong and skilled. They are the pride of the water capital. The uncle said very proudly. Only Ling Fan knows the truth of this matter. CP9. If you dare to attack Robin. Ling Fan once again made up his mind. Let's go, Robin, we still have to go find the iceberg. Ling Fan didn't plan to watch the excitement anymore. It's not unusual for pirates to make trouble in the water capital. The final result was naturally that the pirates were defeated by the boatmen. However, at this time, Ling Fan noticed something was wrong. His knowledgeable domineering aura was somewhere between spying on people's hearts and predicting the future, and he could sense the malice of some people nearby. Now, Ling Fan can feel more than 10 gazes on him. Robin, there are too many people here, let's go to a street corner with fewer people. Ling Fan said. This Robin also felt that something was wrong. Shish, don't talk too much, just follow me. Ling Fan then left the bustling street and came to a place where there were few people, and the feeling of malice became stronger and stronger. Could it be CP9? Ling Fan guessed. Whoosh! Ling Fan took Robin and jumped into the gap between the two houses. Those who followed Ling Fan couldn't find Ling Fan and Robin's location immediately. It's not CP9. Ling Fan saw clearly from top to bottom. Who are these people? Robin asked in a low voice. Soon, we will know. Ling Fan remained motionless. Those who seemed to be full of malice met in the alley and said, "What's going on? Why did the man and the woman disappear?" "Yeah, I saw them turning in just now. Could it be that we didn't pay attention and let them slip away?" "You must keep an eye on these two people. Since entering the Water City, this man and woman have been very generous. They are very novel about everything around them. According to years of experience, it can be confirmed that they are coming to the Water City for the first time in their lives. I don't know where he came from. He has Bailey and has no influence. This kind of person is definitely our best target," the young man said. It was only then that Ling Fan realized that these people had been staring at him for a long time, but they had only been watching him before, without any malice. These people want to rob. They are very familiar with this place. They should have stayed here for a long time. It seems that they are not from the world government or the navy. After Ling Fan was sure, he naturally fell down directly. These people were worrying about not being able to find Ling Fan and Robin, so they were naturally ecstatic to see them now. "Ha, it turns out that you hid above, and quickly hand over all your belongings." The gang of robbers showed their vicious look, and held a knife to Ling Fan's neck. 3 rounds of flowers bloom. Robin knew that Ling Fan's attack was not light or heavy, crossed his hands, and immediately created 3 hands on everyone's body, 1 hand wrapped around an arm, and the middle hand directly punched everyone on the back of the head, and everyone was knocked unconscious instantly. "Does this make them cheaper?" Ling Fan asked. "Kill them. That's not enough, there is always a law to deal with him here." Robin tied everyone with hemp rope with a 3-wheel flower, and then wrote, "Robber and his party." "Let's go." Robin left with Ling Fan. Ling Fan and Robin returned to dock number 1 again. With Robin, Ling Fan walked to the dock. At this time, a shipbuilder came out of the dock. "Excuse me, what's the matter?" the shipbuilder asked. Although Ling Fan saw through the identity of the person in front of him, he did not reveal it, and then asked, "We have 3 things. The first thing is that this is a letter of introduction. We want to find Bingshan. The second thing is that we need to refurbish our ship carefully. The third thing, I need to collect a lot of parts for manufacturing, and hire the best hands to build a ship with me. Don't worry, I'll let the old man help you solve it one by one." Although the man is very young, he calls himself an old man. He wears a hat and has a long nose, a bit like Pinocchio. Obviously, this man is Kaku, one of the members of CP9. Kaku accepted Ling Fan's letter of introduction, nodded and said, "So that's it. It's the letter of introduction written by Mrs. K. Keluo, but Mr. Bingshan likes to run around, and I don't know where he is. If I want to see him, I can only follow the fate. The second thing is, do you want to repair the boat?" "Where is it?" Kaku asked while preparing the tools for repairing the boat, and stretched his legs on the ground. "There are many rocky capes. By the way, we have a lot of ships with pirate flags on them," Ling Fan said in detail. "Pirate's flag, pirate, it doesn't matter, for us, they are all guests." Kaku didn't seem to have any other meaning. "As for the third matter, I will discuss with you after I evaluate your ships first." "Okay, old man, I'll run to see the situation of the ship first, so that it will be convenient to talk about after seeing Mr. Bingshan, and we can also talk about the repair fee." After Kaku finished speaking, he started running like a Superman. "It's amazing." Robin was also taken aback. It was obvious that this person named Kaku was not simple. That's one of the foremen of dock, Kaku known as Shanfang. A man suddenly appeared and introduced. Robin and Ling Fan turned around and found that there was an extra person behind them. This person has light blue hair and is wearing a red plaid suit. He said, "In order to quickly build a faster and stronger ship, it is too late for ordinary people's physical ability. By the way, Khalifa, this one." The woman called Khalifa has blonde hair and wears a pair of light blue glasses, which looks elegant. Khalifa looked at her profile and said, "I've already investigated it. This is the god of changes, Mr. Ling Fan, who has the name of Shichibukai under the king, and this Robin who once had the name of Devil's Son. Before Master Ling Fan became Shichibukai, he had a reward of up to 20 billion Baileys. He is the absolute overlord of pirates, said the woman called Khalifa. Really? It's Chiwahai. Welcome to the City of Water. I just saw this mouse. His name is Tyrannosaurus Rex. The man touched the little white mouse in his chest pocket and said, "We have to prepare food and a cage for him," said the man. "It's ready, Mr. Bingshan." Khalifa touched her glasses and said. As expected of Khalifa, the person called Mr. Bingshan said in admiration. Ling Fan frowned. He wasn't afraid of CP9, but at this moment his and Robin's identities had been revealed. If everything was fine, then Ling Fan wouldn't take the initiative. "Okay, Kaku has gone to inspect the ship. The work is in progress, don't worry," Mr. Bingshan said. I have one more thing. I need to purchase a large number of parts and accessories that can be used for manufacturing. Can it meet my requirements?" Ling Fan asked. Mr. Bingshan nodded naturally and said, "Of course there is no problem. As long as you have enough funds, you can buy as many materials as you want. In this case, this is a list. Besides renovating my warship, I also need these things. In addition, I need to charter a dock. I plan to build a ship by myself." Ling Fan stated his purpose in detail. Mr. Bingshan was also surprised and said, "Can you also build ships?" It really surprised me. "Yes, but I need the help of the City of Water. Your famous foreman will help me take care of it. I will design the ship and you will be responsible for the construction. There must be no problems. Don't worry, Bailey is sufficient," Ling Fan said. "Khalifa, calculate the cost. It seems that this one is serious." Mr. Bingshan has seen determination in Ling Fan's eyes. Khalifa then began to draw and calculate on the paper with a rustling pen. Without considering other expenses, the cost of renting a dock for one day is more than 300 million Baileys, Khalifa said. "Okay, I will pay you million Baileys, and the ship will take at least 3 months to build," Ling Fan said. "There are other expenses that have not been calculated. Let's talk about it at that time." Mr. Bingshan was very satisfied, and he did not expect to encounter such a big order. At this time, Kaku also fell from the sky. "How, ship?" Bingshan asked. "No problem, I should have gone through some battles, and the surface is a little damaged. Even if this gentleman's fleet is fully repaired, it will not take too much time," Kaku said. "That's great. In addition to repairing the ship, this gentleman also wants to build a ship. Sir, what parts are you missing? You can give it to Kaku," Mr. Bingshan said. Ling Fan had already prepared the design drawing of the airship and sorted out the missing parts, so he handed over the list to Kaku. Kaku was taken aback when he saw this. "Are you sure you want so many parts? There are too many materials, which are very expensive." Kaku lost his composure. "Kaku, don't be so rude," Bingshan reminded, then took the list of materials, and took a breath after reading it. "This," Ling Fan persuaded. "Don't worry, you don't need to worry about it. You just need to prepare these materials. The boat I designed will definitely be used. You don't need to worry about how to use it. After all, this is my privacy." Kaku looked at Bingshan, and Bingshan looked at Khalifa. "With so many materials, we won't be able to gather them for a while," Bingshan also said helplessly. "What, the majestic City of Water doesn't even have this material?" Ling Fan couldn't believe it. "Of course, if we add the parts from the dismantler Frankie's family, it may be barely enough. If it takes more than 3 months to build the ship, we can also transfer some materials from other places. Many of the materials on this list are rare products. Water Capital has never built such a large ship." Bingshan still couldn't believe it. The materials required by Ling Fan far exceeded the standard for building a ship. "Now you see it. Then quickly call the foreman and start collecting my materials," Ling Fan then said. "Then, hurry up and open the door and go in," Mr. Bingshan said, and then looked at the extremely tall door with 1 written on it. Immediately afterwards, 2 more people came, one with a golden-orange back, named Barry. One is a man in a black hat with a dove on his shoulder. Ling Fan naturally knew that the person in front of him was the strongest CP9 in history, Rob Lucci. "Let's open the door for you." Rob Lucci and Barry put their palms on the gate of dock, and after a little force, the dock started to move. "Don't look at them like this. In fact, they are only 5 excellent ship repairers who can shoulder the title of foreman in the dock. Kaku is also one of them." The ship repairers here rely on their ability to make a living. Although they have weird personalities, they are also taken too seriously. Mr. Bingshan said. This dock is specialized in accepting the most difficult commissions, according to the main personnel of the Reporter Carrera Company. Come, please come in. Mr. Bingshan said very politely. The interior of the shipyard is naturally extremely spacious, and countless workers are working hard, and they are building all kinds of ships. It's really spectacular. Robin also sighed. Come on, here please. Bingshan is not only the mayor of Water City, but also the president of Carrera Company, and his face is naturally bright when he is praised. The workers at work saw the iceberg and respected it very much. It's Mr. Bingshan. Hey, the boss is here. Mr. Bingshan, good morning. Everyone greeted each other very politely, and Mr. Bingshan also responded with a smile. It seems that everyone still respects you very much, Mr. Bingshan. Ling Fan also praised. Of course, technology is everything in this city. In the past, only the shipbuilding industry was developed on this island, and there were 7 shipbuilding companies competing with each other. At that time, he impressed the ship repairers with his genius shipbuilding technology. 5 years ago, these 7 shipbuilding companies were merged into one, and this is the Carrera Company. His enthusiasm for shipbuilding and technology have not changed. The workers respect him very much, and the workers all regard technology as an honor. Therefore, they are not afraid of pirates, and they will not succumb to power. This is such a place. Khalifa also smiled slightly, with a look of incomparable respect in his eyes. Ling Fan thought, the acting is really good. If I didn't know your true colors, I would really think you are ordinary people. Mr. Ling Fan, if possible, can I have a general look at your design drawings? Mr. Bingshan asked, and then added, after all, we are building a ship for you. We also need to know whether the things we made can sail normally. Mr. Bingshan is right. If there is a problem with your design, we can make it. If there is a problem at that time, won't it discredit us? Barry said bluntly. Robin looked at Ling Fan nodded. Robin then handed over part of the component design drawings to Mr. Bingshan. This is a part of the design drawing. After the parts and materials are prepared, I will give you the design drawing of the main body. Ling Fan said. This iceberg was also taken aback by holding the blueprint. Are you sure this is the blueprint of the ship? It looks like a warship. Does it look more sophisticated than a warship? Bingshan, as a shipbuilding tycoon, said so. Naturally it immediately attracted the attention of others. Rob Lucci and Barry also got a blueprint, took a look at it, and naturally they couldn't hide their surprise. Is this really a ship? Just a part of it needs to be so precise. Barry was taken aback. It seems that Mr. Ling Fan is a real person who doesn't show his face. Said the pigeon on Rob Lucci. Each other, Mr. Lucci's ventriloquist is also amazing. Ling Fan replied. Thank you, Mr. Ling Fan, for being so understanding. You really have the design drawings, so we, as the world's #1 shipbuilding company, naturally want to accept this big job from you. Bingshan nodded, agreeing and believing in Ling Fan. You guys should share these blueprints. After finishing these things, I will hand over the other parts to you, Ling Fan said. Understand, we would like to thank you for your trust in us, and distribute these drawings to 5 foremen. Each foreman is responsible for one of the small modules, and I will personally supervise the work. Bingshan also regarded Ling Fan's order as the most important one. Ling Fan is naturally very satisfied. Thank you, Mayor, thank you all. However, you said that we need more materials, and we don't have so many for the time being. Right, the man called Frankie, there will be there, right? Ling Fan asked. Yes, Mr. Ling Fan, don't worry, we will communicate with Frankie. Mr. Bingshan said. Anyway, idle is idle, let me go and talk to him, he should be in need of money. Ling Fan said. Should Lucci go with Mr. Ling Fan? Bingshan suggested. No need, I'm Chi Wuhai. Ling Fan said lightly. Mr. Bingshan immediately wiped the cold sweat off his head and said, sorry, seeing Mr. Ling Fan being so humble and polite, I even forgot that Mr. Ling Fan is a pirate. Quote. Ling Fan then teleported to appear in front of Mr. Bingshan, and the samurai sword in his hand had already landed on Bingshan's neck. Everyone was shocked, and no one reacted. What are you doing, Mr. Zero Fan? Khalifa was also taken aback, and Kakuluki and the others were also very shocked, even they didn't see Zero Fan's movements at all. If there is anything wrong with the words, please forgive me. Kaku also frowned and said. Yes, we didn't offend you, did we? Rob Lucci said. Bingshan remained motionless. After all, life and death were in the hands of others. No, you didn't offend me. I just wanted to give you a warning. I hope you won't offend me in the future, because if you have any thoughts against me, I will cut off your heads immediately. Don't forget, no matter how easy I am to talk, I'm still a pirate, and I'm a pirate of the 4th Emperor level. Killing you is as easy as sneezing. Ling Fan's cold murderous aura instantly hit everyone. Except for Rob Lucci, everyone collapsed to the ground. It's almost time, I should go find Frankie. After Ling Fan finished speaking, he put away Deadpool's katana sword, and then left here in brew. Everyone collapsed on the ground and looked at each other. They, who were never afraid of pirates, even felt powerless. It's all right, it's Chihuahai after all, we just need to do the job at hand. Bingshan comforted. The Frankie family is easy to find. After all, they are one of the few ship disintegrators in the entire water capital. Taking the best blue, Ling Fan and Robin quickly found the location of the house that said, Frankie's family. Are you sure it's here? Robin asked, looking at this very strange room. The strange exterior decoration, which says Frankie's house, and a star, must be here. Knock on the door, we are not here to fight. Ling Fan said. Dong dong dong. Robin knocked on the door. A giant man wearing goggles opened the door and asked, Who are you? Who are you looking for? Business is coming, we need a lot of materials. Robin took out a list and handed it to the giant man. The giant man touched his goggles with his hand and said, I see, wait a minute. Brother Frankie. The giant man ran in. Robin and Ling Fan glanced at each other, and the giant came out and said, Hello, please go in and discuss in detail. Why do I feel that you look familiar? The giant man asked, a little puzzled. Maybe it's because I'm a pirate. Ling Fan replied. Pirate? Are you a pirate? The giant man was taken aback, and then asked, Did you bring the cost of materials? Of course. Ling Fan patted the suitcase in his hand and said. The giant man then shouted, Everyone. These two guys are pirates. They also brought a huge amount of cash. Really? That's great. The younger brothers of the Frankie family immediately took a 180-degree turn. In their eyes, it is not illegal to steal money from pirates, so they all showed their greedy nature. Since you are pirates, then as long as we kill you, isn't the money ours? Why do we need to provide materials to you? You should never reveal your identity as a pirate. Now, with the two of you, how can you defeat so many of us? If you want to avoid suffering, you can take the initiative to throw the suitcase over and get out, so as not to suffer. Ha ha ha. A giant pirate put on a giant armor, and Frankie's little brothers seemed to be crowded. Are you going to do it? Robin looked at Ling Fan and asked. Enemies of this level don't need to fight at all. Ling Fan's level naturally disdains to fight with these bounty hunters. How dare you underestimate us? Let's do it. Frankie's younger brothers, who are usually bounty hunters and specialize in robbing pirates, are also unequivocal at this moment, and they all rushed up to Ling Fan. Just hearing the sound of "poo," a shock wave erupted directly centered on Ling Fan, and accompanied by an astonishing momentum, the shock wave filled the entire Frankie house with a thunderous gesture. At this moment, everyone's eyes were blank, their eyes lost their spirit, they lost consciousness one after another, and finally fell to the ground. Overlord, Robin asked. Yes, domineering and domineering, it is still very practical to deal with this kind of small soldier. Ling Fan probed around and said, It seems that Frankie is not here, maybe he went shopping outside. We are waiting here for him. Ling Fan waited for a long time, but there was no sign of Frankie. They had no choice but to return to their boat. After sleeping, they heard that the iceberg had been attacked. Mr. Bingshan was attacked last night. When he was found in the morning, he was lying in a pool of blood. He is still in a coma and has not regained consciousness. I am afraid that the shipbuilding will be put on hold temporarily. The person on the phone informed. On hold for now. Ling Fan originally wanted to get angry, but he had no choice but to say, Okay, I see. I don't know who attacked Mr. Bingshan. Ling Fan asked. I don't know yet, said the other end of the phone. Okay, goodbye. Ling Fan hung up the phone, and things became confusing. It stands to reason that in the original book it was Robin and CP9 who attacked the iceberg, but Robin has always been with Ling Fan and never left Ling Fan at all. Then who attacked the iceberg? The iceberg was attacked, and my shipbuilding plan was shelved. Could it be Frankie? No, they wouldn't be so stupid as to attack each other. CP9. To make me stay. Why? Ling Fan couldn't figure it out. Forget it, it doesn't matter so much, let's go see the iceberg. After Ling Fan made his decision, he left Robin in his fleet. Next, leave the matter to me, and I will find out who the murderer is. Ling Fan patted Robin on the shoulder, and then flew to the number 1 dock. After arriving at the dock, he found that there were reporters everywhere, and everyone was eager to know who the murderer was. Please tell us something. May I ask who is the murderer? How things had been. Because the iceberg is respected by everyone, countless people gathered in front of the gate of the number 1 dock, and the crowd was tight. It's really strange. I really don't know who it is and what it wants to do. Ling Fan investigated for a long time and found nothing. Then he decided to go to the room where the mayor was, and went to look for the iceberg. How can I enter the headquarters? Ling Fan asked when he saw an uncle. It's useless. You can only enter the headquarters if you enter dock number 1. Everyone feels the same as you. I also care about Mr. Bingshan. Really, thank you. After Ling Fan thanked him, he thought he could only use teleportation and teleported in. However, at this moment, a rhythm and a melody suddenly came from a high place. After the sound sounded, everyone was very flustered. No way, this kind of melody, could it be? Why at a time like this? Ha, did you guys call my name? A voice came from above. Who will call you? Get out. Someone already recognized whose voice it was. Where is it? Ah, there, someone saw the source of the voice. At the highest point, behind the white cloth, 3 figures began to dance along with the music. I'm the most powerful man on this island. I'm the boss behind Water City. The visitor was wearing black sunglasses, short sleeves with yellow leaves on a red background, a necklace around his neck, a blue star on each arm, only a pair of underwear, and light blue hair. Everyone calls me Frankie. The person who called himself Frankie and the 2 twin girls on the left and right folded their arms together, posing in a cool pose. After seeing Frankie, everyone was scared and ran away. You Ling Fan, you actually attacked my lovely little brothers. Unforgivable. Although my little brother is fine, but he really likes to make trouble when he bullies them while I'm not around. Not good. Frankie is going to mess up. Everyone run away. Originally, he wanted to watch the crowd, but in order to avoid being involved in the battle, he immediately called him blue and stayed away from Ling Fan. It seems that you are not a reasonable person. I just want to do business with you, but your subordinates want to snatch my Bailey. I just stunned them, and I have already shown mercy. Ling Fan explained again. Then I will be merciful and vent this out for them. Then Frankie took a deep breath, and then spewed out a huge flame. Reform people. Fire fist. With such a leap, Ling Fan jumped into the air, and also blasted out a fire fist in his hand, and the 2 kinds of flames collided together. It's amazing, Frankie praised. Ling Fan's whole body was covered with flames, floating in the air, and transformed into a burning man with his whole body on fire. The flames of the 2 collided with each other and spread to the surroundings. The surrounding waterways were scalded by the flames, and the Bruins fled in panic because of the change in water temperature. It seems that you are not an ordinary person, but this is not a reason for you to bully my little brothers. After Frankie finished speaking, he fell from the sky and rushed towards Ling Fan. How many times do I have to say it before I understand that I just want to make a deal, but your little brother wants to rob me because I'm a pirate? Ling Fan explained while avoiding Frankie's collision, but Frankie is a reformer. Ling Fan's reaction ability is naturally different from ordinary people, and he used his flying ability to dodge the telescopic fist. Since you are obsessed with your obsession, then I will show no mercy. Ling Fan thought to himself that he must give Frank a little color. Ling Fan teleported to the gate of No. 1 dock, and Frankie naturally swam here when he saw this. The 2 then started to fight, and the more they beat Frankie, the more frightened they became. How do you guys know where I'm going to attack? What's the matter with your speed? Why is it so fast? Could it be that you are also a reformer? Frankie also began to make random guesses. You don't know how to be domineering, of course you don't know. Ling Fan replied. In just 1 minute, Ling Fan punched Frankie more than a dozen times. This was the time when he hadn't merged with other heroes, but Frank didn't hit Ling Fan with a single punch. I didn't expect you to be so strong. Forget it. Don't fight. Don't fight. Frankie was not stupid. Seeing that it would be futile to continue fighting, he naturally waved his hands and gave up continuing to fight. Ling Fan saw that Frankie had given up the fight, and he had no deep hatred for him, so he naturally stopped. Now, are you willing to listen to me honestly? Ling Fan then told Frankie the whole story, and it was only at this time that Frankie admitted that it was his subordinates who did something wrong. So, next, are you willing to give me these parts? Ling Fan handed Frankie his list of materials. When Frankie saw this, he was taken aback and said, "What? You need so many materials? Are you sure? This is not a small fee. Do you want to earn this money?" Ling Fan asked. Of course. Then shut up and help me find these things right away. When the time comes, pay the money and deliver the goods, okay? Ling Fan said. Since you really want it, then I'll prepare it. Frankie didn't ask Ling Fan what he wanted to do, but took the list very quietly and left the scene. Of course, Frankie smelled the smell of Bailey in it, and immediately went back to sort out the materials with his twin sisters. However, just after the battle with Frankie, the gate of dock number 1 was suddenly opened, and 5 people walked out from there. Although they were dressed in different clothes, they were obviously acquaintances. The 5 foremen of dock no. 1. I don't know what's the point of coming out with a murderous look. Ling Fan asked. HMPH. Just do some boring things. What is your purpose? Ling Fan. Barry, one of the 5 foremen, questioned. What purpose? Ling Fan also didn't quite understand, but he always felt that what he had experienced was somewhat familiar. Do you know what you have done? How dare you show your face here? Barry asked. I came here after receiving a call from the phone bug, and I wanted to see how Mr. Bingshan is doing. Ling Fan replied truthfully. If you want to pretend to be confused, I'll tie you up first. The blonde Barry flicked out a rope from his cuff. Rope manipulation. Barry threw out his own rope, and was about to strangle Ling Fan's neck. Ling Fan naturally grabbed the rope, then swung the rope, and Barry was smashed to the ground. This guy, he has great strength. Be careful, Barry reminded. Bang bang bang. Bipoli Lulu raised his hand and fired 2 shots. Ling Fan's armed color was released, and the 2 bullets fell to the ground directly. At the same time, Ling Fan appeared beside Lulu with a whoosh, and kicked Lulu into the water with 1 kick. As expected of the Chihuahua. Let's see who is stronger. One of the 5 foremen, Fallstone, picked up a wooden stake and charged Ling Fan over. Ling Fan naturally did not dodge, rushed forward, grabbed the wooden stake with his hand, and easily knocked Telephone Stone into the air. At this time, Kaku also rushed up. Kaku fell from the sky, and Ling Fan could clearly feel that Kaku was much stronger than the 3 just now. But in front of Ling Fan, it was meaningless. Ling Fan used low to fight high, and his armed force hardened. Not only did he resist Kaku's moves, but after fixing Kaku's body, he fell over his shoulder. Hearing the sound of boom, Ling Fan threw Kaku unconscious on the ground. I'll be your opponent, Lu Chi said, and quickly came to Ling Fan's side, and both of them attacked each other at a very fast speed. In the end, Lu Chi never expected that he would lose Ling Fan's move in the fist and kick, and was finally knocked to the ground by Ling Fan's punch. I don't know what you guys want to do. I'm Chi Wuhai, Ling Fan also reiterated. So what about Chihuahua? Who told you to attack Mr. Bingshan? The injured foreman told Ling Fan what they thought was the truth, and Ling Fan was very confused. Not only Ling Fan was confused, but everyone else was also confused. What? I attacked an iceberg? You really dare to say that? Ling Fan said. You don't have to frame it like this, do you? I'm Chihuahua. Why did I attack him? If I wanted to kill him, it would be a breeze, so I wouldn't do it secretly, okay? Ling Fan explained while thinking. It was obvious that someone wanted to frame him. Ling Fan still couldn't figure out why. CP9 shouldn't be stupid enough to want to be my enemy, right? It's the world government and the Navy that made me angry, okay? Ling Fan shook his head. The development of the plot at this moment made Ling Fan a little confused. Could it be CP9's self-assessment? Right. They want to put shit on me. But why? Ling Fan didn't want to understand. At this moment, he decided to go to Bingshan to ask for clarification, but Ling Fan wanted to leave, and these people didn't agree. After the 5 foremen recovered, they blocked the number 1 dock, and the people immediately scolded Ling Fan excitedly when they heard that Ling Fan might be the murderer. Interesting, you actually incited the people to deal with me. It is impossible for Ling Fan to kill ordinary people, and there is only one way at this moment. Please let me go. Ling Fan was shocked, and a soaring aura oppressed everyone around him, including Lu Qi, who couldn't control his body. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.